I just recently completed a series on this channel with 52 episodes of YouTube shorts covering the 3 best teams for every character in Blazblue Cross-Tag Battle. That's right, I did a breakdown of over 150 unique BBTAG teams because I'm a crazy person. This video is going to be a compilation of all of those shorts made for a horizontal viewing experience for your convenience. A couple things you should know: each character will have timestamps, so if you want to jump around to your character of interest, check the description. Also in the description, I'll be linking a ton of character-specific resources that I linked in the original videos. And last but not least, a really big shout out to Emeraldas. Emeraldas made a Google sheet that lists all the teams we covered in this series, and it even has hyperlinks for you to open individual shorts episodes when you click on a character, and the corresponding replay theater pages when you click on the players. So that's super cool. I really appreciate the time taken to make this resource for my content. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it, and please like and subscribe if you find this content useful. Thank you so much. Let's define Naoto Shirogane. She's an expansive zoner archetype who can control the screen with direct active threats via gunshots and indirect passive threats via hair trigger traps. She's not solely a dedicated zoner, since she's well equipped to fight up close due to some powerful persona buttons and a double fang overhead special that can be used for unblockable setups utilizing active switch. Combine all this with her insta-kill mechanic and you have access to a character with a variety of approaches and win conditions. So since Naoto Shirogane is such an expansive character, her partners also have a lot of flexibility based on what you value and how you want to play. We'll highlight 3 simple and strong teams that pair with Naoto Shirogane in unique ways. First, we have Batista. Batista mirrors Naoto Shirogane by having a valuable direct screen control. Batista is also an extremely easy character and possesses one of the most desirable assist kits in the game. Batista 4P covers a really valuable air angle. 5P is a prevalent immediate ground game threat that people want to actively avoid blocking or getting hit by. When Naoto Shirogane and Batista work together, you form a team that's really difficult to navigate around due to their sheer combined screen control power. Additionally, Naoto values characters who can employ a lot of hit stun that allow her combo conversion freedom to easily go into mark setups, and that is amplified greatly by Batista's assist kit. Play this team if you want something slower and methodical with a late payoff thanks to wise positioning and measured approaches. Watch Nezu on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Next, we'll cover Adachi. Adachi is a notoriously strong character in BBTAG and offers similar value to Batista. There's some real danger present in the aggressive and oppressive methods and how they can reduce the opponent's agency in a match. A big aspect of this team is Adachi's Zio maneuver. Combining Zio with Naoto's 6P minimizes interaction and counterplay opportunities for the opponent when setting up the Zio lockdown. Adachi's aforementioned Zio and command throw have plenty of hit stun that allows Naoto to easily convert a gunshot mark. While Batista and Naoto aim to win by passively gaining resources and limiting your ability to approach, Adachi and Naoto aim to win by actively gaining resources and limiting your ability to interact. Search Mystery Racer on Replay Theater for reference. Lastly, we'll go over one of my personal favorites, Akatsuki. Akatsuki is a straightforward character. He is Shoto coded, but ultimately aims to play the game up close with suffocating pressure options and huge damage output. Naoto Shirogane enables Akatsuki to approach effectively via her 6P, and can even create valuable openings by calling Akatsuki 5P and following it up with some valuable lockdown through her gunshot. What makes Naoto Akatsuki uniquely, extremely concerning is how many ways they can win the game. They have access to Naoto's instant kill mechanic, but they're also capable of doing high-low unblockables no matter who is on point thanks to Akatsuki's Tatsu also hitting overhead. This can force opponents to waste bar on push blocks. If you want something more rushdown oriented, consider teams like this, but look up Yo Fave Scrub on Replay Theater for a good idea of how to approach this team comp specifically. Let's get it. If you're looking to rush people down with style, this is your guy. He has capabilities of reaching very far, some dash cancel techniques, and can hold some of his buttons down to vary his approach. His specials can close distances with speed. He has freedom to potentially create sandwiches with 6P and rule the skies with his infamous 4P. Naoto Kurogane really values characters who can help him get in and stay in. That can be interpreted in a few different ways, but for now, let's cover 3 strong partners that pair with Naoto Kurogane. I'll mention Akatsuki. Most people who gravitate towards Kurogane will have a natural affinity for a character like Akatsuki. These are 2 dudes that want to play close, do big damage, and make you panic. They can really overwhelm you with options and stick to you despite your greatest efforts to escape. This oppression comes courtesy of Kurogane's 4P locking out the skies and Akatsuki's 5P covering the ground if you're caught stationary. The lockdown created by Akatsuki 5P allows for Kurogane to easily side swap with shift sway and create a sandwich mix-up. Play this team if overwhelming your opponent with constant offense is an idea that entices you. Watch Caterate on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Now let's go over Hilda. Trust me, it really is possible for a Blazblue rushdown man and an undernight zoner woman to be in a relationship. Hilda has very far coverage that can apply enough pressure for a sandwich situation with Kurogane 6P, and from there, full screen mix-ups is Hilda's specialty. Kurogane 6P isn't the fastest assist in the world. Hilda's presence is appreciated by Kurogane since she ensures the opponent is trapped, or at least forced to push block. Speaking of slow but strong maneuvers, Hilda's DP PP. It covers the entire screen, but it has 23 frames to startup, so it's sort of begging to be baited despite its value. Kurogane 4P offers Hilda a much safer alternative anti-air option that covers a very similar area of the screen. Hilda will slow things down and fish for scenarios to call Kurogane's amazing assist up by some pressure, while Kurogane will threaten to impress the opponent with the added support of Hilda holding him down with the assist. Play this team if you don't mind learning a zoner. I don't think anyone has really mained this team, but you can still find some footage of it in replay theater. Finally, let's discuss Merkava. This is an extremely neat concept team. You're getting a balance of the best of both worlds between Hilda and Akatsuki when you choose Merkava with Naoto Kurogane. Merkava has some of the range and support value that Hilda can provide to allow for Kurogane to cover space, but Merkava is also equipped for an albeit weaker, still notable lockdown 5P assist call like Akatsuki. Merkava is going to be a real cow when it comes to not only sandwich creation, but also active switch mix-up. Of course, an assist like Kurogane 4P is going to be a match made in heaven with Merkava's float. If people are thinking of actively trying to contest Merkava, which is already risky in itself, they just straight up might let you fly in peace with the imminent threat of Kurogane 4P looming. Check this team out if you want a really neat composition that amplifies Naoto's strength while presenting something unique in the grand scheme of BBTAG teams. You do not have a ton of footage to find on replay theater of the team being played, but there's at least some gamers up there to give you a general idea. Let's get to it. He's one of the most agile characters in the game. He has high-low mix-ups built into his special moves. There's an even deeper layer to his mix-up potential if he crosses you up. Crossing up is trivial as well thanks to his Shiranui special move. Shiranui isn't even mandatory for Jubei to cross you up. He has a unique step dash that is terrifying to defend against if performed with an assist call. As threatening as Jubei sounds, he becomes significantly less scary when he's fighting solo. It's important to partner Jubei with characters who can enable his neutral. So here's 2 strong partners and 1 strong wife who pair well with Jubei. To begin with, we'll cover the wife, Nine the Phantom. This isn't just for the meme. This team is legitimately strong. To define this team in as few words as possible, Shiranui plus 6P. 9 6P seems almost tailor-made to cover Jubei's Shiranui. You can get enough hit stun to confirm when it lands. This lingers even after you activate cross combo, and 9 6P has a super long active switch window. Simply put, this is cheap. Although 9 is an all-around less mobile character, she also has a dash that can cross up. You have to worry about left-right potential no matter who is wearing the pants. I mean, running on point. Neither of them wear pants. 9 spells can also offer a free-form world of potential for Jubei to work with. Play this team if you want access to a very strong and simple win condition that has layers the more comfortable you get with both characters. Watch Elion on replay theater for a visual guide. Tossing it over to Carmine. The team's so nice it top 3'd Evo twice. There's something to be said about putting stuff on the screen for Jubei to work with. Carmine's pinwheels do just that. The pinwheels are key for supporting Jubei. It's nice that you have access to them while Carmine is on point and assist. Where the support potential of Carmine pinwheel differs from 9's fist is that it's a multi-hitting space control ring that lingers and can actually serve purposes for pressure in a way that 9 can't. Carmine's 4P hitting twice is also quite nice for confirming off of side swap scenarios with Jubei's step dash. Jubei probably benefits from Carmine more than Carmine benefits from Jubei, but Carmine isn't a worthless character by any stretch of the imagination. He's a support character, and one of the best ones at that. There's really only one player you should watch for this team, and he has over 5 years of footage for you to study. Search for Kiyomi on replay theater for a visual guide. Capping things off, let's talk about Teddy. We're getting into more theoretical territory with this pick. I feel the writing's on the wall with this team. Teddy 6P is a similar assist style to 9 6P. It may not cover as much space, but it has that delayed activation cadence that pairs well with Shiranui. It even lingers post cross combo activation, and the active switch window is still hilariously long. The freeform nature of causing chaos we were talking about with 9 spells is a concept that is amplified greatly when you add an item toss kit into the equation. Oil drum and buckets are probably the most immediately identifiable strong items, but with a team like this, the potential is really as far as you want to take it. All of these items can be useful for Jubei in some form. Teddy's bear screw is also going to have natural synergy with Jubei's side swap mind games. Jubei Teddy is more in the theory craft department, but if the controlled chaos vibe of this team inspires you, be the change you want to see in the world. Ragna The Bloodedge. Ragna embodies a simple yet effective kit. There's a few character-specific traits that give him some identity though. Picking Ragna will grant you an outstanding 5A for neutral, high-low mind games with Gauntlet Hades, both streamlined combo conversions and freedom to adapt to stabilize straight hits, corner carry and damage for days, and a lifesteal mechanic that can be quite impactful. Since he's so fundamentally sound, you can go a lot of different angles with Ragna team building. Generally, he likes partners who can cover his grounded approach, lock the opponent down, and allow for his offense to shine. Projectile assist can go a long way. Let's scratch the surface with 3 strong teams you can use for Ragna. Making their debut in this short series, it's Yu Narukami. Yu checks the boxes of everything Ragna would want. A projectile assist? Check. Strong active switch synergy? Check. Lockdown? Extremely large check. Dog, this team has pressure sequences that can last a lifetime. It feels extremely difficult to find any significant push block times to mitigate their presence. But what's cool about Ragna Yu is that they mostly find hits through basic strike throw mix-ups or universal active switch mechanics. They don't do anything that most characters can't do. But this isn't to say the team team simplicity works to their detriment. This is to say that Ragna U exemplifies how there can be power in simplicity. Watch Mukunin on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Now let's discuss Batista. I'm self-inserting my bias here because I play this team, but I don't care. This team is super fun. Batista has a top-class assist kit for Ragna. She allows him to be very belligerent, honestly. Hellswing specifically alongside Batista 6P is a full-screen neutral skip that's plus on block, in most cases gapless, and allows enough hit stun for combo flexibility, and enough block stun to visually confirm the situation and run a mix-up or two. Ragna isn't the greatest at dealing with high flyers, so 4P handles that for him with ease. Batista can even support while on point by tossing out a Ragna assist and active switching A Lumen Stella, giving Ragna a valuable slow projectile to play around. Batista isn't gaining much from pairing with Ragna, but that isn't the aim of the team anyways. This is a supercharged Ragna team. Watch Czub99 on Replay Theater for a visual guide. I can't believe I'm getting curried for this. Ruby Ragna is not only one of the most successful Ragna teams, it's also one of the most successful teams, period, in North American competitive BBTAG. Ruby covers the basics of what Ragna wants. Solid 4P anti-air assist, traditional bullet style 6P projectile, the usual suspects. Pod shot is the active switch tool of all time. If it's done in a sandwich situation, the initial strike is a left-right mix-up. The subsequent shots have a natural gap, so you potentially get yet another left-right mix-up via active switch. You can get this messed up strike throw situation that can be unjumpable. Push blocking does minimal to nullify this mix-up. Getting a sandwich scenario is very easy with Ruby and can occur on basically all of Ragna's confirmed. If you intentionally whiff Ruby's 5P in the corner, you force a sandwich state that covers all tech options. Basically all of Ragna's routing can lead to the corner anyways, and the active switch window for Ruby 5P is super long. There's honestly so much more to cover with this team. My short can't do it justice, but the dude in the comments who offered me curry can. Watch Yosuke Scrub on Replay Theater for a visual guide. This is easily the most unique character in BBTAG. It's an extremely slow unit with limited mobility, but equipped with a wide array of projectiles to enforce zoning. Since it is a tank, it should come as no surprise Blitztank has armored normals. It even has a parry to help out defensively, which is extremely useful for defending, especially against the abundant left-right mix-ups in this game. Tank's damage is over the top. The laser super Tank has is made to melt life bars. Blitztank also has an unblockable JC, and loves pairing with characters that enable unblockable setups with it. The tank can pose a real threat and be quite annoying if matched with a solid partner. Characters who enable the JC unblockable and can take advantage of or supplement its zoning pair best with Blitztank. Here are my 3 suggested Blitztank compositions. First, the Blitzkampf's counterpart, Akatsuki. These two are outstanding teammates. Akatsuki's Tatsu is a prime tool for threatening an unblockable. Opponents are forced to waste meter on push blocking Akatsuki if they don't want to eat free damage. Blitztank has no traditional anti-air, so 4P is a nice option, and a more traditional projectile assist adds to the veiny projectile styles Tank possesses. Akatsuki can have his unblockable enabled off of his B-Tots thanks to Blitztank's assist. You actually have multiple unblockable setups to threaten on this team from various parts of the screen. The win condition of this team may seem a bit gimmicky, but trust me, it's a strong gimmick. Watch Neanderthal on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Moving on to Adachi. This isn't the best Adachi team you can play, but this is definitely one of the strongest teams out there for Blitztank. Zio is going to perfectly complement Blitztank's zoning-centric playstyle. If you block a BZO on the ground, you're cooked. Unless you burst, you're practically guaranteed to take an unblockable. There aren't a ton of ways to set this up via streams, but Adachi Blitztank will find opportunities to implement this during jump banding recovery or as a tech catch setup. You can get an Adachi-led unblockable setup utilizing Heat Rise as an active switch tool. Adachi 5P carries similar functionality to the Akatsuki 5P we discussed that can guarantee an unblockable, and Adachi's other assists being an anti-air and Vorpal Blade for tracking provide Blitztank some solid utility. The screen control on this composition is menacing, and if you want to focus mostly on passive play and knowing your opponent, this is the team for you. Watch Nezu on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Let's discuss Waldstein. If you value mobility, don't have a lot of patience, and aren't willing to power through some polarizing matchups, you should probably avoid this team. However, if you're built different, you'll be rewarded with an explosive team via Blitztank Waldstein. Waldstein 6P may be the most valuable assist call Blitztank could ever ask for. Something like this is perfect to allow for unblockables, but it's also worth stating how effective this can be for pressure utilizing Blitztank's instant overhead JB. Doing Whirlwind while having Waldstein in the point position can also prove to be quite potent. Wald's other assists are valuable for Blitztank in terms of combo conversions or additional pressure opportunities. Blitztank provides Waldstein with some decent support through laser control to keep opponents in place and allow for Waldstein to get in. Blitztank 5P will allow for extensions and setups to amplify Waldstein's presence. Play this team if you like unique big characters and want to have a team that ramps up momentum rapidly once they find their way. Watch Ronan Healy on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Where is Balake at? She can be a bit technical, but Blake Mastery is really dynamic and fun to watch. Blake Belladonna embodies elements of space control, mobility, and trickery. It's actually really hard for a lot of the cast to approach her when she's playing defensively. As soon as you get complacent though, she can cross you up with a variety of maneuvers, including her 5P assist call. Blake is a demanding glass cannon, but she's worth the time if you're interested. She pairs well with characters who can match her range, take advantage of her left-right potential, and provide some lockdown in the process so that she can freely maneuver. Here's 3 teams for Blake that achieve achieve this criteria. We're gonna kick things off with 9. Giving Blix practically instant cross-ups access to 9-6P assists has to be a war crime. You'll just suddenly be in a mix-up out of nowhere. 9-5P can provide a decent bit of block stun for some cross-up shenanigans, and 4P goes a long way as an anti-air with respectable vertical reach. When you reverse the roles on this team, it may arguably become dumber. You can combine Blix 5P with 9's 5B to get a basically free sandwich, and you can string together 9 normals with a Blix 6P call to snatch them in for your instant overhead. There's nowhere on the screen that feels safe against this team, and yet they require you to constantly move. This team can feel impossible to hit, and yet they require you to attempt to interact. This extremely messed up team should be considered if you want a greedy balance of control and grime. You can watch this lesser known up-and-coming content creator named Theophany on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Let's cool off a bit with Yumi. Everything we just discussed with 9-6P applies here to Yumi 6P. What's different about Yumi 6P is that it freezes on hit. You can utilize this property to create some cheeky reset mix-up scenarios. Yumi 5P is the ideal lockdown assist you would want as Blake. Provides massive block stun and freedom to reposition with mix-ups of your choice so Blake can extract more value from her confirms. Even if she doesn't do the most damage initially, her next mix-up might be the one that kills your opponent with Yumi supporting. Yumi's 5B has a property that vacuums in on the second hit. This vacuum effect is so pronounced that if you do Yumi 5B plus Blake 5P, I believe Blake will cross up at every range. Cheat! If you need a cross up from a further range, just call Blake 6P and use Yumi's JC and you're good to go. You can't go wrong with this Blake Yumi team. The barrier of entry for Yumi is minimal, so I suggest this comp if you want a simple Blake team to pilot. Watch Eon Crescent on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We'll end this off with Merkava. Merkava also has extremely long-reaching strikes alongside high-low potential, so the synchronization feels really nice. Since Merkava can be a very active and mobile character with his flight, his reach also goes far in ensuring that no matter what type of distance your sandwich situation creates, you can still extract a confirmable mix-up. If you're close enough, you should threaten active switching with your 2-6 specials. On hit, you'll have plenty of time to confirm your combo. On block, you'll be able to threaten additional mix-ups, whether it's solo or within a cross combo. Blake 6P can be used for instant overhead setups, similarly to what we covered with 9. This team will have a nice collection of all the dirt we've gone over so far. I think the Theophany VODs of Blake Merkava honestly still hold up to this day, but to suggest an active player, watch Aaron Grimes on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We did an overview of Yang in a previous short, so I'm going to kick it over to myself to break down what we're working with. Yang is the full embodiment of a brawler character. She has armor, lariats, command throws, and an overall playstyle that instills fear when she's up close. While she's potent up close, it does take patience and endurance to navigate space around screen control characters. But to account for this, when Yang hits low health, she will freeze the screen and enter an empowered state that's tailored for comebacks. So with Yang being a pretty standard rushdown brawler, her partner options are pretty straightforward. You want characters that enable you to be the aggressor, and ideally you want a partner who will assist you in running the offense to a higher degree. I have 3 partners for y'all that do this for Yang in pretty unique ways. And none of them are Blake. I'm so sorry. I had one job and I failed. Please forgive me. Hey, we got her sister Ruby though. This team might be a top contender for the most represented team throughout every year of BBTAG. Yang has multi-hit assists that strike at different intervals to give Ruby some lockdown flexibility and great cross-up scenarios, while Ruby gives Yang, well, a lot. Armored Burst of Embers plus Ruby 6P, Buzzsaw Blast, and Potshot Active Switch? Yeah, we love that for her, but the star of the show has to be Ruby 4P. This thing is messed up for Yang Oki. Needy Ruby 4P demands the opponent to stay still and pushes Ruby so far back that you can threaten safe active switch options with Yang. It's messed up. The sisters have a natural synergy as if they were designed to be played in the same game alongside each other because, well, they were. Watch Guzman or E2 Deku on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Hell, there goes that boy again. They both have multi-hit specials that fly across screen and end overhead, nearly identical JCs, and they even have similar style combo philosophy with each other. If you're already like Yang, this is an easy to grasp team. You get to apply the same burst of Embers plus 6P ideology we spoke about in regards to Ruby, but you'll trade a side swap 5P with a valuable Tatsu 5P. On the Akatsuki end, you can call Yang's 5P and 6P assist to prolong your turns as well. You'll get access to the unblockables, and Yang's assist do a proficient job of reinforcing the unblockable setups. This team is begging to be push blocked, but if you have solid reads on push block timings, you'll be able to apply additional layers to your offense. You can play Yang Akatsuki if you want a character that resembles Yang and can apply additional win conditions. Watch RNGG on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Yeah, it's Carmine. You had to see this coming. This team synergy isn't necessarily natural like the comps we've discussed thus far. Carmine can call in Yang and throw pinwheel for her, but Carmine can do this for any character. This isn't unique. What is unique about this team is their win condition. Carmine Yang wins by scrapping to find a hit and then converting into an unblockable setup using Carmine Pinwheel and Yang's cold shoulder command throw. If the unblockable hits, well, you just set it up again, creating a loop. Many assists can set up a strike throw unblockable for Yang, but what makes Carmine's setup so exemplary is it's inescapable by those reversals. Under optimal conditions, this team is sacrificing direct synergy for the power of converting every hit they land into a put the controller down true combo. Watch Razo on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Let me get a little bit more dressed for the occasion. That's much better. The spacings where Linne is most potent would have to be either up close or mid or round start range. From here, she can threaten her massive normals, a dashing roll that side swaps, her high-low flying swallow special maneuver, and her infamous Sky Fang. When Linne is outside of this range, she's honestly pretty underwhelming, which is why the remainder of her kit is built around speed. She has extremely quick dash speed and access to a triple jump and a dive kick for being more elusive in the air. You'll notice I've mentioned nothing regarding Linne's support potential, and that's because it's below average. We want to find characters that can enable a point-driven Linne team, so I have 3 character suggestions for y'all who will do just that. Waldstein. Wald offers some much-needed explosiveness to Linne's kit. 6P is a delayed startup multi-hit move that Linne can either string into for 4 sandwiches with roll, or abuse her triple jump and dive kick with 4P ties everything together with a multi-hit assist that's faster than 6P. I don't discuss health often, but it's pretty relevant here. Wald has the highest possible health pool in the game at 20k HP. Using him as a support carries less risk than other characters because he has higher tolerance for damage, allowing Linne to potentially heal more red health. I can see this team falling victim to screen control and zoning. So long as you're the aggressor, Waldstein is going to allow for Linne to threaten some scary stuff. Watch More Life on Replay Theater for a visual guide.
S gonna give it to ya.
S6P is a bit different than most projectile assists. It's not only super advantageous on hit, it also is a higher attack level than most projectiles, so you get to cover ground really nicely. Linne can swiftly cover ground with this. S5P plays really nicely with Linne's JC, and even some of her air airs. The launch that S provides allows for her to seamlessly stabilize into her usual combo flow. Both of these assists are also very beneficial for roll mix-ups. S is a really adaptive partner. S can lock down, and she even has an instant overhead to apply some additional layers of offense. If we gotta slow the game down, stalling is something S can do exceptionally well, even without a partner to enable it. S will either give you new win conditions to aim for, or will allow Linne to take a break until she's ready to fight again. If you're feeling a grappler and would like more diverse playstyle options, S could be your partner of choice. There aren't many players to watch for this team, but I'd say the replays for Tempest are your best bet in replay theater. And Linne's EVO Japan 2025 winning partner, Hyde. Hyde provides a lot of familiar enabling qualities that S does. The 5P is multi-hitting and launches even higher, meaning on block, your advantage state is more pronounced, and on hit, your performance is more stable. The 6P for Hyde retains similar durability qualities to S's 6P. At the start of the show, Hyde 4P adds some layers to your tech catch game by providing simple left-right scenarios with a projectile hitbox, or just some solid lockdown. Hyde is also equipped to adapt to the pace of match like S does. There's no instant overheads, but I've seen plenty of fuzzy mix-ups with this team. There's way more to cover on Linne Hyde, and I'm not gonna pretend like I'm an expert at it. Luckily, the players who played are very skilled. For days worth of footage of this team played at the top level, watch Anashi on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We did an overview of Heart in a previous short, so take it away, me. Heart is also an amazing rushdown character who can be quite a bully up close, but specializes in having unique mobility options via her character-specific homing dash. Zipping around the screen and being a nuisance to catch is the name of the game with Heart, and when she finds her big hits, she gets big rewards. Her homing dash isn't just some half-baked super dash, by the way. You can control the angles and steer it to bait opponents, set up ambiguous mix-ups, and for some reason, her back homing has frame 1 invul, so you can even bait anti-air attempts with it. There's a lot of different directions you can go with Heart partners. Air enablers, ground enablers, bullies, there's a lot of potential for her out there. But here's 3 unique Heart teams you should definitely consider checking out. We'll start with Adachi. Adachi's 5P is beneficial for providing some multi-hitting lockdown. It pairs well with Heart's homing tech chases. Since both Heart's homing dash and Adachi 6P track to some extent, Heart gets to call a layer of safety with Adachi 6P before she zooms to an area. If the opponent is playing too aggressive, you could bait them to approach your invulnerable back homing and then meet them with a 4P punish. The support value doesn't end there since Xiao exists. The character's already very difficult to defend against, but she's especially terrifying with this level of block stun being implemented. Good luck making it out of this situation alive. The team is not perfect. Although she's not flat out useless, Heart doesn't offer Adachi a ton in return. So this really is a supercharged Heart Aino team. Pretty damn strong team. Watch Wakaba on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We got Naoto Shirogane. When you combine Iron Fist Punch with Naoto 6P, you're able to really navigate the ground game with ease. 6P has so much value. You can call it while homing, you can call it while zoning, you can call it while comboing, you can even call it while supering. Heart can assist Shirogane a bit too. Although Naoto is a very capable zoner, Heart 6P covers the ground with a speed that is supplemental to Shirogane. This allows Shirogane to set up more traps, reinforce the zoning, approach. Heart's 5P is also Iron Fist Punch. Heart 5P applies hella hit stun and block stun, which means for Shirogane, she gets freedom to confirm it wherever she likes, and unblockable setups can become gapless and terrifying. There's a lot of tricks with this team, but it's actually very accessible and effective. Shirogane will create a more well-rounded and benefiting partner with Heart. Watch Slugi McNoodle on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Man, we've never talked about this guy, Azrael. This clothesline provides so much block stun with a large active switch window that gapless pressure leading to active switch mix-ups are common. Opponents may naturally want to try to push block this team, but the team has re-engagement options. Heart 6P will also cover the ground for Azrael to maneuver against some of the more passive characters. 4P combined with the backdash teleport can suddenly create a hitbox as Azrael retreats, creating a solid defensive application. Again, I can only cover a fraction of what this team can do, but the reality is, if your opponent gets hit by any of the junk this team imposes, they're gonna die. If you want one of Heart's most explosive partners, Azrael is your guy. Watch Wekondo on Replay Theater for a visual guide. So you wanna play Yukiko, huh? Yukiko players possess 3 traits: dedication, intent, and coping. Yukiko players are dedicated to playing an extremely unique zoner and committing to her awkward works to make her specialized kit function in the game as chaotic as BBTAG. She's juggling micro decisions through usually low reward space control, alongside macro decisions based on resource management. Spending resources on Yukiko can lose the game just as easily as it can win it. She has low HP and mechanics to make her sacrifice health, and stability can hinge upon snowballing into a late game threat that isn't always guaranteed to occur. Yukiko wants partners who enhance her neutral, allow her to build fire levels, and can make use of her assists. I have 3 characters for y'all who should fit the bill. Let's discuss Yumi. Yukiko loves partners who can perform an animation that can be active switch, which allows Yukiko to build flame stacks. Yumi Air Raid is the epitome of this. It not only grants Yukiko this privilege, it's also a very flexible tool to route into. All of Yumi's assists are valuable to Yukiko. 4P gives her a much needed anti-air option as opposed to her very specific fans, and extremely exploitable reversal action. And 5P can allow for Yukiko to set up some active switch scenarios, which is a category Yukiko can actually excel at. Yumi provides Yukiko with some much needed stability while simplifying aspects of the game that may grow complex with other partner choices. Watch King of Ninjas on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Hey yo, I love Hilda. When you're able to control the screen like Hilda, you can create opportunities to call Yukiko for 6P relatively safely. She has a multitude of ways to help Yukiko route into flame stacks. If you want to build a ton, you can active switch the 2-3-6C pillar and let Yukiko build stacks to her heart's content. The pillar costs meters, so it's a bit different than Yumi's Air Raid, but the screen control elements are why we're here. You also get access to Hilda JC plus Yukiko 5P. There are definitely better Hilda JC combinations in the game, but this one can potentially grant a free sandwich, a safer plus dive kick, or an easily confirmable dive kick. Capitalize on the potency of the screen control elements of this team, the combo flexibility, and the flame stock potential. You should probably run Hilda point. If you play Hilda Yukiko, you'll create a composition that is really frustrating to fight against and can tilt your opponents into a victory due to your dominant screen presence. Watch Amethyst Gray on Replay Theater for a visual guide. 9 the Phantom. 9's JA alongside Yukiko 6P controls the skies to a hilarious degree. You could force air to ground staircase and then deploy a mix-up, you can stabilize confirms, you can even force an air unblockable. 9 also loves Yukiko 5P for teleport left-right to unblock and on hit. On the flip side, 9 will offer a decent 6P for screen control and a valuable 4P anti-air. And for point, Scarlet Vein, which could be a fantastic projectile and vulnerable active switch tool to help Yukiko get the party started on stacks. This is a very solid Yukiko team. I'm not even hitting all the bases. My only caveat is that it's a Yukiko team that may lose identity and figure out who is actually the star of the show at times. Usually, it's a bad thing to have this problem, but 9 is so well equipped that enabling Yukiko doesn't diminish her spotlight much, if at all. Watch Dark Death on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Hilda. Hilda is the premier zoner of this game. She has everything she needs to make sure the opponent can't get in. Full screen buttons, high and low tracking specials, and a reversal action that covers nearly the entire screen with an air unblockable hitbox. She has arguably the best assist call in the game via her 4P. So what's the catch? Her average damage output is pretty low, and if you find your way in on the character, she's going to be very reliant on push blocking, given exploitable startup frames on her core buttons and reversal action. So let me address the elephant in the room real quick. Hilda's 3 best teams are probably Seth, Yuzuriha, and Chie. Hilda with all 3 of these characters create some of the most messed up win conditions in the game, but I'm only going to cover one of these teams in this short. The other 2 will be covered in those characters' respective shorts. Trust me, this won't be the last you see of Hilda in this series because she's pretty damn good. Let's talk about 9. In Hilda's 5B string, there's normally a gap after the second hit, but if you call 9 6P with it, 9 Scarlet Vein will perfectly fill the gap and allow for Hilda to do gapless high-low options at the cost of no cross gauge. Although there are better full screen abusers for Hilda, 9 at least has Scarlet Vein to employ a 50-50 from full screen. On the other hand, Hilda's 4P has so much block stun, 9 can threaten an unblockable if you don't push block Hilda, and has so much hit stun, you can easily route into a left-right activation for optimal 9 damage cash out. There are very apparent reasons why someone would be drawn to this team. Playstyle, aesthetic, whatever your reason may be, it's justified. The team is strong and has a lot of footage available. Watch Beepaw on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Everywhere I go, I see his face. Hilda doesn't mind characters who launch themselves across the screen. No, we're not talking about Chie yet. Akatsuki does this, but with the added benefit of being really active. She can confirm the assist call from anywhere on hit, and on block, she can either utilize the block stun for repositioning or attempt to threaten a sandwich with a cross combo activation. Air Tatsu plus Hilda 4P is super valid. If he hits you, he can confirm random straight hits. If you block it, you're probably in trouble. And if he whips, Hilda 4P is covering him anyways. We've covered high-low unblockables with Akatsuki in this series already, but we haven't covered a full screen high-low unblockable with Akatsuki, which is quite incredible. This is a very effective Hilda team. Akatsuki can find his way in, while Hilda can keep herself out while still being threatening. This isn't the team this player is most known for, but they definitely play Hilda Akatsuki at a high level. Watch Elon New 13 on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Alright, here's the elephant. I hate to hyper-focus on teleport plus 4P, but there's a lot that goes into why this is so cheap. Yuzuriha's teleport animation is pretty subtle, so it could be difficult to tell she's going for this, especially if she's off screen. The teleport is naturally right on the edge of reactability, but flat out unreactable when combined with Hilda 4P. The opponent just has to watch this happen and say, well, time to pick a side and pray, I guess. If this is somehow blocked, Yuzu has the option to reset to neutral and simply try again, or activate cross combo and go for mix. Yuzuriha has some far-reaching active switch options which Hilda likes. There's way more to it, but honestly, Yuzuriha just flying around calling Hilda 4P is truly evil. We don't have a lot of representation for this team in North America, but one of the best to ever do it is in Japan. Watch Pizza Mayo on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Whirl Girl. the other one. Unsurprisingly, Makoto is a rushdown character. Most of her specials embody forward advancing movement so she can stay within her effective ranges. This is important for Makoto as she has little to no presence from further distances. She has her Comet Cannon projectile, but it's not a traditional fireball by any means. There's some evasiveness quirks to her kit. 2C has invulnerability to head and body attacks. Her JC can be used as an air stall to bait anti-airs, and her asteroid vision can force some tricky tech chasing cross-up scenarios. Now, Makoto is the most stable character in the world, and her kit doesn't offer anything notable enough to justify picking her over other rushdown characters. Due to that, she's rather niche. For Makoto, building around her involves finding partners who are mostly self-sufficient and have assists that cover further ranges so that Makoto can navigate easier. Here are 3 characters who execute just that. Newcomer to this short series, it's Mai Natsume. Mai's 5P forces a slower ground game, which gives Makoto more opportunities to approach neutral. Makoto's 4P is really weird. It's a delayed startup dunk that causes a ground bounce for combo extensions. Mai's JC is also really weird. It's a delayed startup horizontal poke that is a bit odd to confirm off of. Now magically, when you combine these tools together as an air-to-air option, you get this safe disengagement poke that's advantage on block and grants an easy confirm on hit. How sick! Makoto's 5P is a capable lockdown assist that Mai can force Saturn situations with using her cross-up JA. Both characters' active switch options are effective for extending pressure and applying mix-up, and they both have re-engagement tools to counter push block. It's thematically neat that these 2 characters are tied together in the lore. Honestly, I recommend this team simply if you like the characters. It's strong and it's pretty firmly rooted in fundamentals. Watch Stone or that Nep on Replay Theater for a visual guide. He's back again, Yumi. At closer distances, Yumi's 5P is one of the best lockdown assists in the game, allowing for Makoto to run pressure and force some sandwich situations. From further distances, Yumi's 6P is a triple projectile that freezes on hit, giving Makoto ideal projectile presence to follow behind. Valid strategy in some matchups is placing Makoto's Comet Cannon to absorb other projectiles and calling Yumi's 6P behind it for a layer of safety. Yumi's snowbirds are also effective active switch tools. There's not much else to cover with this team. This isn't really one of Yumi's best partners. But on the sole definition of support, Yumi should be mentioned here for Makoto, and if you want a simple and effective Makoto team, this is the one. Watch Ryazo on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Dang, a callback to our first short in the series, Naoto Shirogane. Naoto is going to provide some similar support to Yumi, just executed a bit differently. Naoto 6P will still be a delayed starter projectile, but this time it will wall bounce rather than freeze on hit. Naoto 5P will provide some lockdown, but with the added benefit of being persona assist so it nullifies push block. You choose Shirogane over who we've mentioned so far due to her playstyle and win condition. Her kit is a bit more catered to zoning than Yumi's, so if you want to play a game slower, Naoto has you covered. Makoto's 5P and Infinite Rush serve as great ways to set Naoto up for a mark or an insta-kill. This team is great if you want to add some more impactful win conditions to Makoto's toolkit. Shirogane has a lot of natural and familiar support value for Makoto, and they work together in effective ways. Watch Beiko on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Finally, the peak English dub in this game. Yuzuriha couples the ideology of controlling space effectively with maneuvering through space effortlessly. She's owned by using a variety of disjointed slash-based moves. Her slashes aren't considered projectiles, so navigating around Yuzuriha proves to be a cumbersome task. She's equipped with teleports to help her quickly jolt around the screen, and when coupling her teleports with an assist, you get accessibility to terrifying cross-up situations. You can employ a point-driven Yuzuriha comp that focuses on teleport plus assist. You can utilize a more zoning-centric team to really crank up the space control elements, or you can even give Yuzuriha a more supportive role, as her assist and act switch kit can provide additional layers to some foundationally strong point characters. Let's go over 3 partners who work well with Yuzuriha. Quick shoutouts to Blackjet for having an excellent publicly available Yuzuriha guide, which helped me make this short. I'll link to it in the description. Blake's XP assist brings a world of potential for Yuzuriha. A huge sweeping assist that can cover the ground like this alongside Yuzu's teleport is destined to succeed. Blake's 6P snatches people out of the corner, while Blake's 5P will actually cross up in the corner. This sets up cross-up scenarios that aren't normally possible. Blake's mobility coupled with Yuzu's 6P slash will either deliver an easily confirmable side swap mix-up or an opportunity for applying more pressure. Blake and Yuzuriha are extremely similar characters, so they naturally work amazingly together. If mobility and trickery are what you're into, you have a solid option here. There are VODs for Eon Crescent and Legion Tatsumaki in Replay Theater. Best Persona 3 boy, Akihiko. Akihiko can provide some lockdown via his 5P, which may be useful for keeping opponents in place during Okizeme. Akihiko's 6P is the highlight here, however. The low-profile properties on the initial parts of this assist are so profound, you'd think that it's flat out invulnerable. He can comb through a lot of attacks in neutral and zip across the screen with ease. Thanks to Yuzuriha's range, she helps him confirm or pressure safely. This also provides utility in knockdown and combo filler context for Yuzu. Akihiko can threaten his massive damage output by having meter at his disposal, so Yuzuriha's assists provide him with meterless conversion opportunities off of some of his more common openers. Both Yuzu's 5P and 6P get the job done, with the latter being able to even snipe opposing assist calls. This isn't a parallel pick, but if you're looking for varied approaches with similar anti-zoning control mindsets, Akihiko is a beast. Watch Trogs 93 on Replay Theater for a visual guide. You know what they say, y'all, no Mai, no buy. Mai's 5P doesn't have the low profile capabilities of Akihiko's 6P, but it more than makes up for it with its speed. You can apply this assist to pretty much all the context that you normally would with Akihiko's 6P. We haven't discussed anti-airs much, but Mai's 4P is super beneficial. It covers more of an obtuse angle with a user who has mostly acute anti-air potential. Even Mai's 6P, which is usually a niche tool, has some applications. You can force block streams that lead to sandwich situations if you apply Mai's 6P to proper pressure sequences. Mai is also extremely mobile, similarly to Blake, so having users 5P and 6P available to cover options like JC and her 236 strikes are pretty neat. Mai is offering a more balanced approach between Blake and Akihiko. She borrows ideas from both characters to execute a capable partner partner for Yuzu. There's not much representation of this team, but you can find a few matches of it being played on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Bro, why does this character speak with a Boston accent? Labrys was designed to be a momentum-building offensive powerhouse. Her main gimmick is her axe gauge, a meter that passively builds up levels as Labrys uses her axe attacks up to a maximum of 5, also known as red axe. The higher her axe level, the higher her damage. Stay on the offensive and her damage is going to become insane. In theory, sure, but in practice, Labrys has some flaws that hinder this dream. She can be zoned out, which only hurts the viability of her axe gauge, and her defense is rough. Her anti-airs are lackluster, and her reversal action is just bad. It's slow, it has guard point rather than vulnerability. It's one of the worst DPs in the game. Still, the power fantasy that is melting life bars as Labrys remains an achievable threat, and that's all the reason to play her if that's what fills you. You have to build the team around Labrys, so it's important you find characters who can cover her faults while amplifying her game plan. Here's 3 Labrys teams that should give you what you're looking for. Trying to get them Kuroganes. When you need an anti-air, Kurogane 4P is the anti-air. With anti-air presence this strong, people are inclined to stay more grounded. However, being grounded against this team is where the fun begins. Labrys 6P is usually niche, but it has amazing synergy with Kurogane's record series. You can even effectively bring Labrys in due to the long after switch window. Combining Chain Knuckle with Kurogane 6P makes Chain Knuckle a scarier tool due to the conversion capabilities and potential pressure sequences on block. Kurogane turns the Labrys negative of having reactable overheads to a positive by turning them into fuzzy situations with this JB, which is a pretty big deal for an otherwise lackluster mix-up tool. You can go pretty crazy on offense with this team. Labrys can naturally build up axe levels just from running pressure. It's going to require some lab work, but the dual synergy on this team shouldn't be slept on. Watch Caterade on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Hyde Kido. Hyde's 5P is one of the best assists for neutral in this game. There's also some neat crossing tricks available by combining Hyde 5P with Labrys 5B. This effortless sandwich situation is a trivial mix-up if you delay your 5BB and active switch. The invaluable Hyde 4P tech catch shenanigans we covered in the past will work here too. One thing I have mentioned at all in this short is Labrys' brutal impact super. This super can be charged to increase the base damage output on top of your existing axe level bonuses. Max charge brutal impact with a high axe level will hit some of the highest damage output values you could possibly get in this game. Hyde's EX Bacon shift lets you conveniently route into full charge brutal impact. This is a more accessible team if Kurogane feels too daunting. Hyde is the balance pick, but a useful one nonetheless by providing an all-around threatening composition. Watch Midori on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Let's throw another pro tag into the mix, Ruby. Ruby's 4P is a great anti-air assist and her 6P is an awesome bullet projectile. Both these assists give Labrys much needed support in the neutral game. But what I want to highlight with this team is the mix-up potential. If you active switch Ruby's JC properly, Labrys can apply fuzzy mix-up with JA. Firming off of this is most consistent using her J214C. Apply a low option mind game on top of this and you're good to go. Ruby, she can do this too in potentially even scarier ways. I personally love the setup in the corner. You do a Labrys combo and intentionally whiff Ruby's 5P at the end, meeting the opponent with 5B and cancel an A guillotine axe. When the opponent blocks the guillotine axe, boom, free fuzzy mix-up with Ruby JB. There's more layers to this, as you can make the active switch gapless and force a block guillotine axe, or you can intentionally leave a gap so that this active switch applies a left-right 50-50. This team explanation is going to sound like gibberish to some of you, but that's okay. If you understand that this team is a mix-up dispenser based off what I've said, then give it a try if you're going to play a more technical team. Watch Technical Eastside on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Happy belated birthday to the silly Junes employee. Yosuke Hanamura is built around speed and mobility. He's one of the fastest characters in the game and has a ton of special maneuvers that make him hard to keep up with, like moonsault, V-slash, and run. He has extremely swift buttons and a lot of threatening normals tied to his persona, which means he's a really difficult character to push block. The persona property also applies to his 6P assist, which makes it one of the best assists for pressure in the game. Yosuke can use his speed and mobility to slow the game down by stalling and being a nuisance to catch in some matchups. If you attempt to interact with him, you can risk getting caught by his specials or his partner's assist calls. Generally, some good things to look out for in team pairings would be characters that can keep the opponent in place with lockdown, characters that are able to extract value out of its 6P, and characters that are simply able to be used as high presence assist calls that threaten some part of the screen while Yosuke is flying around. Here's 3 characters who hit the mark for Yosuke Hanamura. I hope you like Persona. Alright, we gotta get this one out of the way. It's Tohru Adachi. Adachi teams that allow for him to employ A-Zeo and an assist call, B-Zeo, and the active switch in threatening ways are staples. Once the opponent is locked down, Yosuke can force high-low mix-ups from his instant air dash, and potentially left-right mix-ups by introducing moonsault into the equation. Beyond B-Zeo shenanigans, Adachi also provides his 6P vorpal blade. That although has susceptibility to being broken due to its fragile persona nature, is still noteworthy due to its utility in the neutral game. He also has his 5P assist, which is very useful for applying mid-screen Okizeme. I'm admittedly selective about when I mention Adachi in this series, but Yosuke Adachi is just simply too powerful of a team to omit, and you should give it a try if you want something potent, oppressive, and powerful. Watch Nuclear Taco on Replay Theater for a visual guide. It would be funny, fitting, and accurate to transition into Yumi right now, but let's go for Naoto Shirogane instead. A really key tool in Shirogane's support value is her 6P. You can call it neutral to force actions from your opponent, you can call it in the air to cover the ground pretty definitively, or you can call it alongside V-slash to create a tricky sandwich scenario that will also confirm easily on hit thanks to wall bounce properties. Naoto's 5P serves a similar purpose to Adachi's 5P by providing significant lockdown on finish setups. Mark and instant kill win conditions on the team are probably meter inefficient, and you're likely better prioritizing consistent OP with a team like this. But given that creating sandwich situations for Yosuke is trivial, having access to double things unblockable goes a long way. This is a team that can adapt to slower and faster paced matchups while providing some different flavors of offensive functionality. Watch Zinzin, our replay theater, for a visual guide. People, let me tell you about my best friend. What's neat is that Yu Narukami is also a character who is extremely hard to push block due to his persona-based kit, so these two characters working together can be super suffocating. There's nothing too over the top about Narukami's assist kit for Yosuke, but they serve the purpose as well. 5P can be used for some cheeky moonsault situations, and Yosuke having access to the 6P projectile is awesome to cover some space. On the reverse, Yosuke's 6P is ideal for naturally amplifying Narukami's pressure, and while I'd never call Yu's anti-air game lacking, having a solid anti-air assist like Yosuke 4P available can give him some safer options to look for to cover the skies. Look, I'm not gonna complicate the equation with this one. It's a solid team. There's a nice balance in how it operates, and it can almost feel like these two characters were made to play with each other. I'd consider this team if you want something accessible, straightforward, and solid. Watch who can in on replay theater for a visual guide. You picked this character because Finrich is your goat, huh? Boasting a balanced and approachable Shoto derivative kit, Jin Kisaragi is one of the more standard characters in BBTAG. His unique properties and strengths lie a bit beneath the surface. His infamous Toga super is notorious for being a full screen, extremely quick snipe that is usually safe if spaced. However, one of the real dangers of this super is its assist punish potential. Haphazardly calling assists is practically begging to get cooked by Toga. There are other qualities related to Jin Kisaragi's kit, such as his valuably horizontal JB for air-to-airs, his adaptively useful EX Snowflake for pressure and setups, and his menacingly threatening 6P that is an assist that can honestly give value to any character in the game. Jin's partner choices are pretty vast. If you want something pressure-oriented, you can seek partners who specialize in lockdown. If you desire something neutral-oriented, there are different flavors of projectile assists you can seek out. And if you want something with a toxic win condition, I may have something in store for you if you stick around. For now, let's not waste any time and cover 3 potential partners with Jin Kisaragi. Brother! Ragna Jin is most threatening when Ragna is on point. Calling Jin 6P with Ragna 5A and 2A gives you an immediate ground threat and allows for callouts on your opponent's natural reaction to pressure. If the opponent likes to jump, you can force air unblockables. If they're push block reliant, you can nullify the intent with Hell's Fang. And if they're content with blocking, this is where mix-up opportunities may present itself. The wait and see potency of Jin 6P combined with Ragna's pressure is a calculated way to play the game. Jin is a bit more supportive in this team. He's mostly used to slow the game down and finding opportunities for Ragna to be swapped in with Jin's solid act switch tools. This is a team that will only be as strong as your core understanding of BBTAG. As we've mentioned in the past though, there's power and simplicity. Watch Monkey 4012 on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Now let's talk about Jubei. The thing about Jin 6P that I haven't mentioned is that it has quite a bit of startup. This isn't a deal breaker, it just means you're gonna have to build around it to extract value. By being so agile, you can create situations where it's hard to punish Jin while also dealing with Jubei. Shiranui plus Jin 6P is gonna go crazy. There are also 5P and 4P options that are faster and can disrupt the flow of counterplay your opponent is attempting to implement. Jin's Ice Car also gives Jubei a valuable double hitting act switch tool that can enhance his offensive approach. Jubei also provides notable support value here. You'll get a slow projectile in the form of 6P, which is always helpful for covering space in the neutral game, and Jubei's 5P is exceptional for lockdown. If it's time to stall and fish for mistakes, you can dance around the screen with Jubei and force undesirable situations for your opponent with Jin support. If it's time to go more ham, they can crank on the pressure and enable each other to do so. Watch Wing Sensei on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Indie things with Susano'o. Susano'o 6P provides a bullet style assist that is extremely impactful and neutral for Jin to cover space. And overall, this team can be suffocating through their active switch options. But let's face the facts. You're here because you want to know about the toxic win condition I was alluding to earlier. Susano'o has a God Press command throw that is 30 frame startup, so in isolation, this is an uncheck. However, if performed properly, you can combine Jin 6P with Susano'o's God Press to create unblockable setup. This is mostly reversal safe. Additionally, if Susano'o God Press makes contact, it's an unburstable animation. If you opt to jump this, you'll have access to burst earlier, but good luck finding a safe point to use it. Susano'o also has absurdly high damage to complement Jin's respectively high damage, so snowball potential on this team is at a dastardly high rate. The plan is simple. Land an early hit, set up the unblockable, snowball your way to victory. Even if this doesn't work out, the team's rushdown capabilities and support present multiple win conditions you can cycle between based on context. Watch Fame 96 on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Why play a 2v2 when you go play a 3v2? Seth is an extremely agile glass cannon with tons of benefits worth highlighting. I could go over his normals, but it's Seth's special moves that are actually quite absurd. EX Dual Piercing Vengeance is nightmare fuel. A 9-frame full screen lariat that is safe on block, can cross up, and does stupid damage. And his orb is an absolutely egregious tool. Captive Segment is a passive projectile Seth can set on the screen that fires a tracking shot at the opponent after a few seconds. This gives Seth what is functionally an additional assist call while he's on point. He can also call Captive Segment for his teammates as an assist, so others can experience what it's like to break the rules. Seth is a stupid strong character. His best partners are purely there to amplify his strengths to produce overwhelming mix-up scenarios and ridiculous damage outputs. Characters that provide screen coverage to supplement Seth's screen traversal are highly valued, so multifaceted projectile assists are great tools for Seth to play with. Let's discuss 3 of these options we have available for Seth. We'll start with Yumi. Everything I just listed off that Seth wants, Yumi provides and then some. Overwhelming mix-up scenarios, you have Seth's 5P crossing up with Yumi's lockdown, Seth's dual piercing vengeance plus Yumi 6P, Yumi snowbirds can even restand for reset scenarios. scenarios, the ridiculous damage output. This is Yumi we're talking about, and Seth is no stranger to damage output at all either. Screen coverage, Yumi's 5P is one of the premier traveling lockdown assists, 6P is one of the best projectile assists, and 4P gives Seth a valuable, less committal anti-air. Damage output is very low hanging fruit to highlight here, but we gotta talk about air raid. It naturally locks out burst and can be comboed into Seth's command grab, which does the same. Seth Yumi combos can get lengthy, but if you're caught without cross gauge as a rebuttal, you may not have any options to escape once it regenerates anyways. This really is a superpowered Seth's team. I think Yumi is his most enabling partner. My short can't really cover all this team has to offer, but watch Cam Dinar in Replay Theater for a visual guide. It's the mutual situation. This team is a bit more front-loaded, but that's by design. Hyde 5P being a mid-range lockdown assist and 6P being a solid projectile assist, pretty standard positives. But what makes Hyde support value so great is that a lot of his tools have very high hit stun and launch properties. Seth really likes when these opportunities present themselves because it allows for him to go into some of his best routing with orb loops. Hyde's assists demand a lot of respect, but the more the defender is hyper-focused on Hyde's assist calls, the more time Seth has to reposition and set up sneaky orbs to pollute the screen. Hyde is no slouch on point either. Performing his extended strings to apply chip damage and calling Seth 5P to force his cross-up is a very applicable plan to gain access to active switch mix-ups. Similarly to Yumi, Hyde is a partner who promotes low skill floor entry for Seth's teams with high skill ceiling as it relates to optimization and setups. Watch Raiden on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Yeah, it's about that time. On a base level, Seth flying around while being able to call Hilda assist, especially Hilda 4P, will just naturally have value. If Hilda hits you, we have one of those high hit stun scenarios that Seth can easily optimize around. If you block something like Hilda 4P, you're in trouble. You may even get caught in the air trying to catch Seth, which is prime bait for punishes and air on block heals. But that's just one aspect of the team. Hilda's kit has a lot of moves embedded with vacuum properties that pull the opponent towards her, so doing these moves with Seth's 5P creates sandwich situations for completely free. Once you're in sandwich situations, you can implement high stakes mix-ups that lead to very rewarding and easy to stabilize combos due to Hilda's high hit stun values. In my Hilda episode, I alluded to this team being strong, and honestly, maybe that was an understatement. This is actually one of the best teams in the game. It's another one of those comps that's really hard to summarize in a series like this, but definitely watch Sokur on Replay Theater for a visual guide. People won't stop demanding pudding in the comments, so this is mandatory. If there's one word I could use to define how S plays, it would be pace control. Wait, that's 2 words. She's really a neutral menace thanks to her generously long normals, multiple Bruno projectile options, and swift ground movement. If she's aiming to slow things down, her JA, JC, and Bruno projectiles alone can create a wall of option that's hard to overcome. She also has a solid projectile 6P and a capable 4P anti-air assist that can enable defensive point characters. Conversely, if S goes on the offensive, she's scary. 2A and 2C are really far-reaching low options. Her 214C Lariat can be a nearly full-screen approach tool followed up with a proper assist, and the cherry on top is that she has a 12-frame instant overhead. All in all, S is a fundamentally sound character who's perfectly capable of performing well at high level. You could use this character in a support role to a beneficial degree, but as far as building around S, finding characters that match her flexibility, cover some space for her, and most importantly, enable her JB instant overhead are the basic prerequisites necessary to function. Here's 3 characters who execute this perfectly for S. Let's talk about Ruby. Something you'll quickly learn as S is that her anti-airs have some glaring weaknesses. Ruby 4P is one of the best low commit bandages to solve all of these issues. Additionally, you'll get access to Ruby's pod shot, which is a valuable active switch option capable of enabling JB instant overhead with S. There's some cheeky side swap shenanigans you can get in the corner with Ruby confirms too. Calling S5P while doing A gun blast confirms in the corner will allow S to corner steal if you activate cross combo. Some of the corner steal shenanigans we've covered in the past with Ruby 5P can be effective with S as well. These characters have perfect alignment in their ability to control the pacing of a match flawlessly. There's a low skill floor with Ruby S, and it's a great team for people who have an affinity for comically large normals. There's not a ton of 2.0 footage for this team, but there is at least a page of replays on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Now we'll move over to you. S has the speed to confirm both intentional and stray 5P hits, and the additional lockdown provided by U5P can grant some potent act switch scenarios. There's also no shortage of 5P corner steal shenanigans you can do with you. This guy's just built different. This next bit is a bit sweaty, but this team technically has unblockables. In theory, you can set up these Zeo cards multi-hit low to hit at the same time as instant overhead JB. There's a lot of nuance here, since if the opponent defaults to blocking high, you can't confirm a combo, and if you mess this up, S is highly likely to be punishable, but an unblockable is an unblockable at the end of the day. Zeo card plus S6P can be a powerful way to navigate the neutral if you want to close the distance. And of course you have Narukami's pressure strings to rely on if you need to slow the game down for whatever reason. This is another solid basic team. There's dual-sided synergy and some pretty threatening offensive layers to be explored here. Watch Techno Eastside on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Surely you've all been waiting for Batista. If you need to play slow, the zoning on this team is impeccable. All of Batista's assists cover different areas of the screen in extremely impactful ways. Not only that, they provide plenty of hit stun for S to confirm off of, so making hits at neutral count is easy. If Batista is on point, she is already well equipped to play slow, but having access to the assist kit S provides amplifies this playstyle to a high degree. Don't be fooled though, the offense on this team is crazy. Batista's 5P is the gift that keeps on giving. It'll apply lockdown for you, allow for constant high-low mix-ups, and notably, it can be pretty push block averse. You can find opportunities for SJB and Batista 5P in neutral. What's even crazier is from close distances, this will cross up to add an active switch layer. Pace control has been the buzzword, or buzzwords for this short, and S Batista is the fullest embodiment of this term you could possibly get in my opinion. Getting zoned by this team is annoying, blocking them up close is annoying. It's just hell, really. Watch Nanoha Sensei on Replay Theater for a visual guide. I've been procrastinating making this one, not gonna lie, but the time is now. Platinum the Trinity is a bit of an oddball overall pick. I can very close to objectively state that she's the least popular character in the game. This is because on Replay Theater, she has the least amount of replays uploaded to the site at just 6 pages of footage. No other character has less than 10 pages of footage on Replay Theater. So why is she so unpopular? She has zoning and rushdown capabilities with some tricky mix-ups embedded. She makes use of long-reaching normals and unique mobility via Air Persia and Swallow Moon. Her 6P and 4P do have a downside of being tied to random item sets, but the 4P at least always summons the same hitbox first before doing a strike of some kind, while 6P always gives you a random projectile, so there's some stability in that sense. In a game like BBTAG where assists are a huge key feature of the mechanics, it's probably the lack of control over assist options which turns people off to Platinum. But if you want to play Platinum, you're going to be looking for a partner who provides stability and Mr. Chaos. This means strong assists that enhance your neutral game are a must. With that, let's discuss 3 strong teams for Platinum the Trinity. Beginning with Naoto Shirogane. The duration of Shirogane's 6P gunshot assist combined with the wall bounce properties give Platinum amazing stability on hit post mix-up and safety on block. 6P is also nice for neutral by presenting a sweeping ground game threat that requires counterplay or respect. Shirogane's 4P is also a decent anti-air, but I'll share another technique involving the assist that I've never covered in this short series. This isn't Platinum specific, but in the spirit of tricky mix-ups, Platinum players are going to love this. If you call Shirogane's 4P in the corner, it will cross up if you jump forward. This is really hard to call out as a defender because you have to intentionally block cross up despite there being minimal indicators that the cross up is even occurring. Even if this is blocked, you'll be able to use Platinum's scary active switch tools for a high-low and a left-right mix-up. This is on top of Shirogane also offering her universal unblockable double fang setup. There's a much appreciated stability that Naoto Shirogane brings to the table for Platinum. The assist kit is awesome for her. There are new techniques added to Platinum's already deep bag of tricks, and Shirogane mirrors the flexible rushdown or zoning playstyle that Platinum embodies. Watch Shadow Teddy on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Let's switch it up with Yosuke. Yosuke's 6P is impactful in the mix-up and pressure department for Platinum. You get a high launcher on hit, and you still get the maintain advantage on block. Yosuke can already be a bit of a nuisance to catch, so giving him access to Platinum's assist kit is a great idea, because if the opponent is far away or if you're looking to approach, you can call Platinum 6P to enhance your options. If the opponent is trying to get in or take to the skies often, you can call Platinum 4P to interrupt. Yosuke Platinum can play this hit and run playstyle where they can run their mix-ups when it's convenient for them, and then hang back and stall until they're ready to approach again, or until the opponent gets impatient and overextended in a neutral game. Watch Faded Dragon on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We've been talking about this girl a lot lately. I'm not biased, I swear. The air control threat that Batista 4P presents allows for Platinum to invest in her ground and projectiles more. Batista 6P can also be used to supplement Platinum's projectile capabilities, or you can use it as a means of approach. It's also really good for the Platinum mix-up situations we discussed before, giving a combo on hit and safety on block. The shining star is of course Batista's 5P though. This phenomenal assist will add lockdown to your Ukizeme and can also cover the ground split skip. It has an extremely long hit animation to grant EV combo stability. When Batista is on point, the plan is pretty simple. Slow the game down. Platinum 6P is also pretty cool for Batista. It pairs nicely with Batista's zoning, but it can be used offensively. There's even some potential for Platinum 6P to allow safe Batista DPs in certain matchups and situations. This is a really annoying team once it gets going. Batista's screen control opens up so many possibilities for Platinum to prosper, and there's not many other characters out there who are going to be able to support her like this. Watch Alane on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Welcome to the Velvet Room. Elizabeth has a playstyle that is as zany as her personality. Elizabeth is a zoner who makes use of various projectiles and traps to manipulate the screen. You have Miragidyne, Mabufudyne, Magarudyne, and Maziodyne, which all apply the concept of screen control in unique ways. These moves also get amplified when she enters her Awakening state. Awakening activates when she's below 35% HP, and she can purposely put herself in Awakening by utilizing her Mind Charge Super. As awesome as this all sounds, there's another side to Elizabeth. She's extremely awkward. Her specials can be on the slower end in terms of startup and recovery, her Boomerang S5A can cause unexpected combo dropouts, her 2B isn't the most reliable anti-air in the world, and her reversal action is a shallow counter-based strike that struggles with heavily against disjoints, cross-ups, and assist calls while the point character is blocking. If you're willing to put in the time, Elizabeth can be a potent support character. I have 3 partners for you that exemplify her potential and are proven to work. 9 of the Phantom variety. Elizabeth creates some of 9's most threatening situations with ease. 9 has an unblockable via her Morganite spell combined with her instant overhead, but it mostly only sees use in the corner where opponents are guaranteed to tech into it. Mid-screen unblockables are only stable if a partner applies additional support, and Elizabeth does this effortlessly. Elizabeth's 5P can't be push blocked due to it being persona based, meaning you need to push block 9 to avoid an unblockable if she sets up Morganite. Even if she doesn't threaten unblockable, you're still stuck in a high-low 50-50 mix-up. This is just one of dozens of tricks on this team, so I can't highlight everything in just this short, but while we're here, I'll also showcase this messed up restand mix-up you can perform utilizing Liz's Freeze, as well as this full-screen instant overhead setup you get with 9 due to persona displacement on Elizabeth's assists. Elizabeth 9 has been referenced before as Team Unlimited 9, and it's easy to see why. Some of 9's best support value comes from Elizabeth, and they work together to snowball games convincingly and effectively. Watch Locrier on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Wait, we just talked about this guy. Elizabeth enables dual piercing vengeance in really wild ways. Take the B version of DPV with Liz 6P for example. This is basically a full screen neutral skip that is mostly safe, can cross up on block, and is followed up by a giant Zeodyne beam. Applying the same DPV plus Liz's concept to the A version of DPV with Liz's 5P grants you a gapless, unreactable, safe, free sandwich situation with axe switch potential. It's basically unpush blockable due to Seth's A DPV startup being so quick, and the initial hit of Liz 5P following up nearly instantaneously. Tech catch scenarios on this team prove valuable with what Liz brings to the table, and in punish scenarios with resources, this team has ridiculously high damage potential, in some cases even TODs. Admittedly, this team is more so for Seth players than it is for Liz players. She's purely just there to enable chaos, but regardless, Regardless, the chaos is contingent on Liz in this shell in order to operate in its cheapest capacities. There's not a lot of representation for this team, but Rityo and Redblade are both strong players to watch on replay theater for a visual guide. Yeah, no really. A blocked Xiao or Liz 5P can lead to unblockable Blitztank JC that really isn't able to be counterplayed by anything other than burst. Tank has an instant overhead, and Elizabeth can not only provide confirms for Tank off of it, she can also help Tank get in range to actually use it. Elizabeth is really good at amplifying all of Tank's strengths, and in turn, Tank isn't bad for Liz either. Since people don't really want to be on the ground against this team given the inherent risks, Liz can tempt people to stay in the air, which can give her some stalled time to set up a riskier zone tools in neutral. Blitztank and Elizabeth have natural alignment in being eccentric, untraditional, less valuable, and niche zoners, but they use this uniqueness to combine forces and create something incredible that allows each of them to shine. There's a functional win condition here, and it can be really threatening to contend against. Watch Eshi on replay theater for a visual guide. Throw your XDs in the comments right now. Mika is the speed gremlin who gets to live a double life as a grappler and a rushdown character. As a grappler, she has her Mika-chan cannon special, which is a high-risk, medium-reward lunging throw with impressive range. Her rushdown capabilities are arguably more threatening than her grappler tools though. She has huge range tools like her 2C, DP, JC, and Charge JB that allow her to cover the screen in significant ways. But the star of the show is her Mika-chan missile. Mika launches herself and can change trajectories by canceling into itself. There are aspects of Mika missile that makes this move absolutely crazy within BBTAG though. One, it can cross up on block, which means Mika creates left-right mix-ups extremely easily on point and as an assist. Two, the EX version is fully projectile invulnerable, making Mika a worthwhile counterpick option to zoners. It's best to seek partners for Mika who will help her navigate the screen and who can extract value out of the mix-up situations she creates. Mika is a character who will naturally be active switching a lot, so you want a character who can pile on the damage and keep up the pressure on your successful mix-up opportunities. Here are 3 characters who keep the momentum train rolling for Mika from start to finish. We gotta start with Carmine. So on the Yang short, we showcased how Yang Carmine is a team that can confirm their hits into an unblockable setup via Carmine's pinwheel and Yang's command throw. Then once the unblockable is successful, you can loop the setup since it's inescapable by most reversals. The reason why I just repeated this information is because it literally all applies to Mika Carmine. In fact, in my subjective opinion, this team is just Yang Carmine but better. Mika Carmine doesn't struggle as much to find their way in since you have Mika Missile as a neutral option alongside her other prominent neutral tools. You also don't necessarily need to unblockable loop people on this team in order to win. The mix-ups that Mika provides are going to be situations that Carmine can capitalize on with threatening damage output. At the very least, this is the safer option for an unblockable loop Carmine comp in comparison to Yang. It's better suited to fight zoners, the neutral is a bit more stable, and the alternative win conditions are solid. Watch Watamasa or Okada on replay theater for a visual guide. Moving on to Susano'o. This short's episode is really funny because we're going to highlight not one, but 2 different unblockable setups. Yeah, by setting up Susano'o 236B, you can active switch to Mika JC and get a fully confirmable unblockable setup. Due to Susano'o 4 traveling momentum, this is actually really hard to push, block, and nullify. Beyond that though, Mika serves as a pesky point character who frontloads the neutral game followed up by Susano'o 6P bullet assist. From here, it's pretty standard Mika mix-ups that come into play, but with the looming massive damage potential of Susano'o waiting in the background. In return, Mika doesn't offer Susano'o a ton in the neutral department. The point of this team is to have Mika play as point. Susano'o is brought in either when it's time to do damage or when the lead has already been established. Basically, Mika is the party starter and Susano'o is the party's over. Play this team if you want something really explosive and scary. Watch Nep on replay theater for a visual guide. And now, Yumi. Just utilizing any one of Mika's tools alongside a Yumi 5P or 6P is more likely than not going to provide immediate value. Some of the more noteworthy applications would be Mika Missile plus Yumi 5P. It's some of the most stable, free left-right potential you can find with Mika, and the super long after switch window comes in handy here. Yumi 6P allows you to use Mika JC a bit more liberally given the coverage that this Novers provide. You can find much more consistent confirms in the corner with this instant overhead maneuver though. This team's DP assist potential is also not bad with Yumi 6P. Mika's DP goes super far, and Yumi 6P stabilizes successful hits surprisingly well. If any of your mix-ups are successful and you're looking for damage, it's Yumi. I'll just leave it at that. This is basic, effective, and probably one of the more pick up and play Mika teams out there. Watch Brimmy on replay theater for a visual guide. The grind that this character can perform never ceases to amaze me, man. Rachel is a character who has mix-up, mobility, screen control, and even field manipulation tactics at her disposal. She can manipulate the wind after utilizing certain specials and normals, which will push or pull her projectiles, her opponent, assists, everything. Rachel has access to an instant overhead, except that's a lie. Rachel has access to instant overheads. Her 8-frame JA can cancel the subsequent JA overheads as much as she'd like until she lands. You have the multi-layered Tiny Lobelia. It's an effective projectile on its own, but upon usage, it creates a staff that can be cancelled into Barrel Lotus Bats or Sword Eyes Lightning. Her DP reaches hilariously high, her 4P can be like 3 mini jam sessions, her level 4 resonance makes her a boss character, George exists. I can't succinctly summarize all the tools this character possesses. Rachel's potential is so high that you should be picky and choose partners and ensure she shines as bright as possible, especially since she has a high learning curve and requires investment. This means assists revolved around block stun, projectiles, and anti-airs are great, but also her partner should benefit from the zoning, lockdown, and unique assist kit that she offers. Here's 3 strong Rachel compositions for you to consider. And we start with Ruby. Ruby's 6P is a nice bullet assist that can help with pressure and neutral, and her signature 4P is one of the best anti-air assists in the game. It's something great to call when characters are forced to chase Rachel, which, let's be honest, it's the majority of the cast. We also gotta revisit Ruby's cornerstone potential in B pot shot. Active switch B pot shot, allowing for Rachel to do whatever she wants, is messed up since Rachel has an instant overhead. Instant overheads. Rachel's 4P assist can reach really high. This is valuable as is, but a lot of characters struggle to convert 4P at higher distances. Not Ruby though. He has the speed and range to consistently convert successful 4Ps. Since Ruby is so self-sufficient, she doesn't rely on Rachel to fill holes in her game plan. Everything Rachel offers is either a supplement to Ruby or a benefit for Rachel down the line. Watch Iota on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Now we move to Adachi. This team wants you to block BZO with Rachel running the offense during the block stun. Rachel might be one of the best BZO beneficiaries in the game, and it's once again due to her instant overheads. It's really helpful that Rachel's 5P causes a lot of block stun and has a super long hit animation. It gives Adachi plenty of time to set up BZO active switch effectively and safely. By calling George in a specific way and bringing in Adachi for his Gasio command grab, you get a reversal safe unblockable. It's expensive, so you shouldn't aim for it on every conversion like BZO, but this is awesome when the situation calls for it. Rachel Adachi is less about dual-sided synergy and more about prioritizing impressive snowballing offense. Rachel will have to run all of the offense, but that's exactly why this team is great. It turns out her offense is pretty damn good. Watch Yarisugi Cabbages on Replay Theater for a visual guide. It's Dave Batista. Rachel Batista is the quintessential zoning composition of BBTAG. Batista has her orbs, lasers, assist, a solid high-reaching DP, strong normals, and a beam super. While Rachel has her insane mobility, another high-reaching DP, Labelia's while on point, and adds an assist, Bats, Lightning, George, Tempest Dahlia, the list goes on. All of these tools are great in isolation, but when you combine these characters together, it's so over, bros. You can't get in. If you try to get in, they convert. And once they convert, you have to deal with their insanely impressive offense. Batista's assists can be top class for lockdown, which makes Rachel's pressure extremely sticky. Batista's assists are obviously noteworthy for neutral as well. You fly around with Rachel and call the Batista assist to perfectly cover the area of the screen your opponent's trying to move to. This is the bullet hell team of the game. As is the case for probably all Rachel teams, there's a lot of nuance and depth to this one when it comes to optimization, but seriously, if you want to tilt people by not letting them approach, look no further. Watch Pikachu or Cake on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Personally, I prefer frozen yogurt. Neapolitan is an extremely tricky character in BBTAG. She's very flashy, stylish, and a bit unorthodox as she's able to execute a variety of different mix-ups and resets that keep the opponent on their toes. However, this character can be a bit polarizing. Although she has seen success at the high level with 2 EVO championships under her belt, this character is far from perfect. She has some pros and cons to her kit. For pros, she's able to implement full-screen high-low mix-ups with her 2-4 series. Her JA is a high-value air-to-air tool due to its fast startup and generous range. That same JA is also incredible for fuzzy overhead mix-ups, and she has a pinwheel flip tied to 6-6, which lets her flip forward past the opponent and create easy sandwich scenarios. On the flip side, her cons. She doesn't offer much in terms of her assist kit. She can be a bit demanding in the execution department, her damage output is extremely low, and although she's an offensive monster, her neutral game leaves a lot to be desired. Overall, Neo's a high-maintenance character that can be a turnoff for some players when it comes to the reward you get for your time invested, but results have shown that she can be effective in the right hands. You'll need partners who can fill in the gaps that Neo can't cover in the neutral game by herself, and simultaneously enable some of her mix-up scenarios to be harder to escape. Here are 3 great partners for the Ice Cream Girl. Presenting the other half of the EVO Japan 2024 winning team, Naoto Shirogane. Shirogane bypasses or just straight up fixes a lot of Neo's core issues. Neo's assists are lackluster? Not here. Neo can allow for full-screen gunshot confirms. Neo has trouble in the neutral game. Shirogane 6P and 5P can be a ground game addition for Neo as she excels in the air, and the 4P anti-air helps too. Neo's damage is low? Bro, who needs damage when you can just simply insta-kill? With plenty of tricks up their sleeve in terms of resets, stable confirms, and even multiple types of unblockables, this is a team you don't want to defend against. On paper, I think this is one of Neo's best partners. Other partners we cover here are going to outshine Shirogane in other departments, sure, but I think in terms of the overall offering as a concept, Shirogane is a character who's directly tackling Neo's faults and gaining some benefits in the process. That's a nice synergy. Watch Nezu on Replay Theater for a visual guide. I'm sorry. Listen, I know we talk about this character a lot, but this is another case of a partner offering tools that Neo desires to great avail. Yumi 6P is perfect for neutral control, 5P is going to provide some great lockdown, and an anti-air assist like a traditional 4P goes a long way for Neo. What's even better about this team though is the restand potential. Since Neo's 2-4 attacks take quite a while to start up, it's nice to have tools that trap the opponent and let Neo act freely to enforce the mix-up. Yumi Snowbirds will straight up freeze the opponent, locking them in hit stun, allowing for Neo to move freely for resets. Beyond Neo-focused mix-up sequences, if you can manage to make the opponent block a 2-4A while Yumi is on point, Yumi can potentially fuzz the opponent's stand block with JB. All in all, this is one of the more standard picks. Yumi is very accessible and will provide immediate high value to Neo while also surprisingly benefiting a bit in the process. Watch Culpable on Replay Theater for a visual guide. And that brings us to Hilda. Hilda's natural assist coverage is on the more expansive end, and by that I mean she has 4P. When you get one of the largest assists in the game with Hilda 4P combined with the air control quality of options like Neo's JA, the team can be pretty challenging to contest. If you respect too much, you open yourself up to the possibility of having to deal with options like Neo's dive kick combined with Hilda's 4P. This is a very free crossover scenario, and Hilda has the benefit of exceptional range, meaning she can convert from the multiple distances Neo may find hits. This ideology applies to other sandwich creation options the team may employ, such as Neo's 6-6 dash and Hilda's dive kick JC. There's also plenty of unblockable potential out there with this team courtesy of both sides if you're into that sort of thing. Out of the 3 teams we discussed today, Neo Hilda is going to be the least damaging one. However, with unblockable, screen control, and slow play working to their advantage, these two can be even more annoying to fight. Watch Minatami and Replay Theater for a visual guide, if you can find them. The side character no one wants to actually main. Gordeau is a character who's defined by reach. He covers space in a variety of ways, utilizing his scythe via normals like 5B and 2B, specials like Grim Reaper, and his assists like Rusty Nail 6P and his aforementioned Grim Reaper 5P. His range options are there to hold down a neutral and must be used meticulously, as he has quite a bit of whiff recovery. Conversely, he's very scary up close once you respect him. Gordeau has his Assimilation Command Throw, which has a grounded and anti-air variation if you're able to read the opponent's jump timings. Grim Reaper covers a huge amount of space, is extremely active, and is one of the best lockdown tools in the game due to the multiple hits and forward traveling momentum properties. The B version of Grim Reaper may very well be one of the best active switch options in the game for lockdown. As a character who was previously known to be prominent in the early stages of BBTAG, Gordeau comparatively doesn't see much use nowadays. He's fallen out of the limelight, but there are some character specialists who keep him relevant. Good partners for Gordeau are defined by strong sandwich mix-up potential and characters who can be used on point, as Gordeau is mostly supportive in his role. Here are 3 partners you can utilize with Gordeau. Only 90s kids will remember this team. Utilizing Grim Reaper with Ruby's 5B and the Gun Blast can grant a gapless sandwich creation that can lead to left-right active switch mix-ups. Push blocking Gordeau as early as possible may not even create a gap for you to escape this depending on what Ruby looks for on offense. Rusty Nail, on the other hand, will leave an intentional gap off of the same cancel, which can allow for a cross-up. These two can create left-right situations out of thin air, especially when you add in Ruby's side swap 5P Okizeme, and of course Ruby's active switch options are incredible. Although both these characters have changed over the years, this team still got it. Big buttons, great lockdown, and terrifying active switch potential. Watch Gears on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Let's discuss Susano'o. Gordeau's Rusty Nail is a perfect fit for lariats like Susano'o's Sundering Claws. Rusty Nail also has great application with another common Susano'o approach tool, JB. The flaw this button has is that as an air-to-air, although potent, it causes a technical knockdown. Utilizing Rusty Nail 6P with Susano'o's JB will not only be scarier on block, but most importantly, more threatening on hit, as you now get a full combo. Susano'o helps Gordeau out a fair bit as well. With one of the best projectile 6Ps in the game, Gordeau can use his presence to his advantage to either amplify his pressure or establish more control of the neutral game. Susano'o's Grand Viper is nearly a spitting image of Gordeau's Grim Reaper in practice, so during cross combo or even just active switch scenarios, you're going to be making the defender burn a lot of push blocks if they want to avoid pressure. It is a suffocating team if it gets going. They can tilt you into impatience if you're not careful, and should you make a mistake, that health bar is going to melt. Watch Monkey on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Bro, literally, if I just scroll over a little bit, we get Azrael. Azrael is going to bring a good balance of qualities we gather from both aforementioned teams. For example, side swapping with Gordeau's assist is a solid strategy, but as opposed to Ruby, teleporting isn't a special for Azrael. It's just his normal step dash. This means you're going to be able to teleport a lot with Azrael while Gordeau backs you up. If that's not enough, you have Gustav, which is a 3/4 screen neutral skip tool like Susano'o's Sundering Claws. The difference, however, is that Gustav inflicts a ton of block stun. Because the opponent is stuck blocking for longer than usual, this allows for Azrael to get a gapless advantageous approach from any of Gustav's distances. If you think that's crazy, wait till you see this. Let's consider Gordeau's A Grim Reaper with Azrael's 6P clothesline. This lariat plus assist ideology applies here as well, but just take a look at how advantageous the situation is for Gordeau. He's like plus a second, not a frame, like a literal second. We got left, rights, neutral skips, plus frames, and I haven't even mentioned Growler as a layer of counter zoning elements for this team. Sounds like it's time to party. Watch Bojack or New Garansan on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Mitsuru hasn't been a super highly requested character in the comments. I'm just covering her because I think she's neat. Mitsuru is the queen of mid-range in BBTAG. Her normals are best in class disjoints via JA and 5A. 2-6B dual is a slower startup thrust that can be plus if spaced properly and provides combos on hit with an assist or near the corner. 2-6A dual is a respectfully quicker lariat that grants a combo on counter hit, and 2-6C dual is the disrespectfully quickest lariat that boasts a hilarious 7 startup frames. Mitsuru's infamous JB is an unreactable instant overhead that reaches extremely far. You have to constantly be on the lookout during pressure, Okizeme, and even in neutral for a JB assist maneuver from her. Mitsuru is obviously strong, but she isn't as prevalent as you'd expect nowadays. She's not the best at dealing with screen control, but she's a bit underutilized in my opinion, considering she has extremely cheap gameplay loops and win conditions. Skills that enhance her already terrifying neutral game are welcome, but most importantly, flexible tools that allow for instant overhead confirms and setups are mandatory. Here's 3 great Mitsuru teams that are worth considering. You know we gotta spread that Yuzuriha agenda. Mitsuru's 6P is interesting. The delayed activation of the ice benefits Yuzuriha from a mix-up perspective, as she can dance around with teleports and slashes to create left-rights. On the flip side, Yuzuriha's 6P for Mitsuru is incredible. Calling Yuzu's 6P slightly before A dual will serve as a neat tool for punishes, neutral, and anti-push block. Yuzuriha's 6P is uniquely powerful for super long-range instant overhead confirms. You will need to call Yuzu first before jumping with Mitsuru to account for a startup, but this is still incredible value given their range of the mix-up. Mitsuru and Yuzuriha have similar kits when it comes to space control. It can be a real nuisance for a good amount of the cast to find their way around how Mitsuru and Yuzu influence the screen. Once you feel helpless, the instant overhead is coming. Watch Jajuka on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We got Team C's representation with Akihiko. Dual plus assist is a common technique across strong Mitsuru teams. However, I don't think any other character executes dual plus assist quite like Akihiko 6P. You can slap Akihiko 6P on any spacing or version of dual and benefit massively. You'll get a wall bounce on hit, but more significantly, you'll be advantageous on block with Akihiko positioning himself close to the opponent. This effortlessly opens up your high-low mix-ups. Mitsuru's 5A is 8 frames, disjointed, and one of the hardest to contest round start options in the game. Combining Akihiko 6P with it can seamlessly seamlessly create Mitsuru's most powerful position within the first second of a match. Akihiko's corkscrew also benefits from the wall bounce property that Mitsuru's 5P provides. And yes, Akihiko's 5P is the instant overhead confirmation tool, but it's also pretty decent for lockdown too. This isn't a team Akihiko players would value as one of his best, but Mitsuru heavily benefits from Akihiko. Having his ground game, draw enabling, and damage output on your side is worth it. Watch P-Blade or Rock to Shadow on Replay Theater for a visual guide. If you want to deny the opponent's fun, let me introduce you to Batista. This is a ridiculously impressive powerhouse of a team in offense and neutral. Round start shenanigans? Yeah, Batista 5P has you covered the first second of the match. Dual plus assist, free confirms, free mix-ups, free neutral, you got it. Can you jump? No, there's Batista 4P and Mitsuru's air button, stop it. Will push blocking do anything? It depends, but you're probably gonna have to guess at the end of the day. But hey, at least you're only guessing on high lows. This team would be nuts if it also had left right. I'm sorry, don't downplay Batista's role here. She's critical in slowing the game down while Mitsuru heals, and Mitsuru's 6P can actually be pretty nice for zoning sequences. You're also able to stabilize stray Mitsuru 5P hits if you have the confirmation awareness for it. Or you can just tag in Mitsuru 5P with the slow bouncing Orb of Death, that works too. Mitsuru Batista shares similarities to the S Batista team we covered in the S short, but it's more tailored to offense and looping set play if you're into that sort of thing. Watch Crack and Atkins or Juno Cisco on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Who would be a good partner with Noel in Blazblue cross tag battle? AKA the highest security for my home overlooking my living room. Noel is a ground-based rushdown character in BBTAG, and she has a kit that assumes she will constantly be in the opponent's face. She doesn't really have much going on for neutral tools. Her base movement is fast, and although there's some mobility embedded into her drive moves, the only other neutral tool she really has is Optic Barrel, which is a fine tool for what it is, but nothing to structure a game plan around. The game plan is instead structured around her drive moves. By cycling between various button combinations after being normals, Noel enters a state where she flows between chain maneuvers with different properties. She can blow through people if they're not careful or knowledgeable about her, as there are distinctive vulnerability properties attached to some options. She can even do drive cancels on woofs, so Noel is able to employ a I'm going to swing my arms like this, and if you get hit, it's your own fault approach. Noel can be a massive knowledge check of the character, but she's actually not the strongest pick in BBTAG. That doesn't mean she hasn't seen success though, thanks to the Noel believers who opt to build a team around her. Noel should run point with partners who support her neutral game via projectile and anti-air assist. She also likes lockdown options that allow for her offense to shine, and it isn't a bad idea to give her a partner who can sustain themselves. Let's discuss 3 options you have for Noel Vermillion. Fifth, Akatsuki. Noel really benefits from finding multiple uses for her partner's kit. Take Akatsuki's 5P Tatsu for example. It's great ground coverage for Noel if she's falling behind it or if she's in the air stalling. It's useful for lockdown, and it's a great combo tool. The neutral applications go a long way due to the hit stun and wall bounce tied to Akatsuki 5P. These properties allow for Noel to meaningfully confirm since she isn't really able to apply notable conversions from further distances. Akatsuki 6P is a standard projectile assist, and its 4P is a traditional anti-air assist, but simplicity goes a long way here since Noel lacks projectile and her anti-airs can leave much to be desired. What ties this team together though is a core aspect of all Akatsuki teams, be Tatsu unblockables. Noel can enforce them decently with her 5P, but in mid-screen, her 6P is surprisingly serviceable for creating gaps with unblockable strings. Source for this team? Just trust me bro. No one really mains Noel Akatsuki, but there's a VOD of Ian using it on Ducky's channel that can give you some ideas of the possibilities. I'll link it in the description. Okay, I promise these next 2 will have player references. Let's talk about Naoto Kurogane. You may think it's just due to anti-air potential, which is obviously exceptional, but really we need to discuss Noel JC plus Kurogane 4P. Noel's JC is actually pretty damn good. She creates 2 hitboxes around her, which makes for a phenomenal air-to-air tool. Where Kurogane 4P comes into play is giving Noel JC some much needed stability and hit confirms. You do need to spin cross gauge to implement this properly, but if you want to conserve cross gauge, Kurogane's 4P can be used another way as well. Notice the forward momentum of Noel's JC, who can use this to her advantage alongside Kurogane 4P to create some pretty ambiguous cross-ups. This is a powerful technique, and if the team hits you, they can really hurt. Kurogane support gives Noel an alternative game plan as opposed to just rushdown. She can enforce an air style runaway playstyle, where she employs JC and her mobility in an attempt to force her opponent to overextend into the compromising situations Kurogane 4P can grant. Watch Narima on Replay Theater for a visual guide. If you saw the Japan BBTAG video on this channel, you knew Yumi was coming. Let's just cut to the chase. This is Noel's best partner. 5P is great lockdown and easy to confirm off of, 6P is a top class projectile assist, and 4P do be anti-airing. But Yumi is a cut above the rest for other unique reasons. Yumi's 6P freezes on hit. What's important about this free state is the opponent is considered standing for the duration of it. We haven't discussed Noel's command grab special muzzle flitter yet because it's kinda ass as an actual command grab, but it is optimal for combo extensions on specifically standing opponents. So what if you were to loop Yumi 6P with Noel's command grab and a cross combo? Death. Performing hyper-extended routes, activating cross combo, and looping Yumi 6P plus Noel muzzle flitter is cash money. This combo potential drastically elevates the danger of making a mistake against Noel. The price you pay may just be a lost game entirely. Watch Midori or Flan Bogard or Replay Theater for a visual guide. I asked Hazama players for advice and all they gave me was the snake. Hazama is a unique character. A lot of Hazama mastery boils down to nailing the esoteric skill of flying around with his chains. Hazama can use Ouroboros to run away, engage on an opponent, and most importantly confirm straight hits in the combos. When he finds hits, Hazama can pack a nice punch by boasting some respectable damage. He feels great when he's playing the game at his pace, but being countered by screen control or forced into employing different game plans allows for cracks of his kit to show. Hazama suffers from poor reach on a lot of his core normals and specials, and assists are not the best. His flaws can inhibit his ability to perform, but should Hazama find the momentum, he can implement high-low options via Vengeful Viper and a command grab mix-up with Bloody Fang. To be clear, Hazama is not a character you point to and say, hey, he'd be a good fit for my team. He's instead a character you build around if you vibe with his playstyle. Assists are basically the missing link that completes Hazama's game plan, so picking the right partner really matters. You want assists to heavily impact the neutral game and cover significant parts of the screen while Hazama flies around. Let's cover 3 Hazama teams for you to potentially dive into. The path to peace route with Yosuke. Hazama's 4P and 6P assists are pretty decent at supplementing Yosuke's neutral game. As Yosuke moonsaults around, you can cover distinct areas of the screen where opponents may try to contest you. On the flip side, you can apply Yosuke's assist to Hazama in similar ways. On more defensive sequences, Yosuke's 4P is one of the better anti-air assists in the game, covering valuable vertical space for Hazama, and for more grounded opponents, Yosuke's 6P will either force your opponent to move or allow for Hazama to approach. And honestly, that's the team. I mean, have you ever seen a timeout in BBTAG? That's the way of the path of peace. The synergy isn't extremely high here, and the playstyle is not nearly as potent as it used to be due to some nerfs and just shifts in the overall meta, but Hazama Yosuke can still do work by slowing things down, being obnoxious to contest in some matchups, and refusing to interact until it's convenient for them. Watch Vivian on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Moving on to Carmine. In the spirit of flying around and calling assists, Carmine 6P takes the cake for this playstyle. Hazama's Ouroboros chains are actually quite unsafe. They may look scary, but there's actually like no blocks that attach to them at all whatsoever. If he's flying over to you, you can just poke him out of his pressure. Carmine 6P provides Hazama with some much needed safety and stability by simplifying straight confirms and punishing people for trying to interrupt. The base 6P alone is good for this, but puddles can expand your potential neutral options by allowing for more of the screen to be covered. Carmine's 4P is also nice for Hazama's corner Oki. When performing safe jumps, you can call Carmine 4P for lockdown and mix people up with different times with air dash JA once they respect the 4P. JA is a multi-hitting stab move that you can hold for more hits that all hit high, so you can mix up your timing to do single, double, or even triple overheads. This team will be a bit more aggressive than what previously discussed. If you seek more offensive sequences and approaches, then Carmine might be what you're looking for. Watch Not Jerry on Replay Theater for a visual guide. And lastly, Team Suit and Tie with Adachi. There's a few similarities on this comp to what we covered with Carmine. Ouroboros plus 6P goes pretty hard here, however in a different way. Adachi 6P is a tracking assist where you drop a persona on the opponent. You want to perform flight patterns while calling Adachi 6P that force cross-ups and encourage people to stay still. On block, Ouroboros plus Adachi 6P is actually quite risky. It's a persona move that can be broken, so it's not super reliable. Instead, try Adachi's 5P alongside Ouroboros for pressure on block. Adachi 5P also comes in clutch for the safe jump scenario we discussed, as the same concepts apply here. But the real reason why we're here, BZO setups. Hazama has a decent high-low game. The issue is always finding opportunity to get it started. And well, here's your opportunity. Thanks, BZO. There's actually way more tech with this team, and I implore you to check out Nonchalant's guide on Hazama Adachi. I'll leave a link for it in the comments. But for a visual guide, check out Grey Alucard and Scrub David on Replay Theater. EX Bin Sinister is cringe, and I won't be silenced on this matter. Hyde has everything you need in BBTAG and nothing you don't. Black Orbiter controls space while also having access to the Bin Sinister extension for combo conversions and neutral navigation. The EX version of Bin Sinister is wild, as it's safer to do and projectile invulnerable. Zoners hate this move. He boasts solid mid-range buttons that can extend pressure into some lengthy strings. It's not just mid-dispensing though. Hyde's Black Void skill causes all his sword attacks to do damage on block. It's not a ton of damage unless you're in Resonance, but it's enough to make you feel like you shouldn't block this character forever. Hyde is an awesome team player with great active switch options, one of the better assist kits in the game. Hyde is basic. He's easy enough to pick up and play, but also with enough depth to put out a mixtape for combo routing. Hyde's pretty flexible, but not potent enough to justify pairing him with other support style characters. He's a lot stronger as an enabler than the one being enabled. So let's cover 3 potential Hyde Kido teams. Beginning with Ragna. Hyde 6P is a banger here. Hell's Fang pairs with 6P for advantage on block and a combo on hit. A Ragna team certified to the classic. Hyde 6P also just helps with neutral since Ragna lacked a projectile himself. Hilariously, Hyde 5P does these same things and is useful if you want to cover that air angle alternatively. There's also just a general sentiment with this team that everything is able to lead to the corner. Both characters naturally have great corner carry in the routing, and Ragna 5P being a wall bounce just makes that even more of a flexible constant for your Hyde combos. Ragna 6P can also be used for some surprisingly effective active switch sequences. This pairing is only as complex as you want it to be. Combo routing and rushdown game plan construction is about as simplified as it could possibly get with Ragna Hyde. On the contrary, they can also do stuff like this. Watch Canned or Lord Hostef on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Continuing on with the pro tags to you. First and foremost, use 4P is a problem. It has a hilariously long active switch window that's begging for you to set with the grimiest left right you possibly can, and Hyde can abuse it pretty well. Of course, this is on top of the universal side swap that you can do in the corner with his 5P, and you have to consider the fact that Hyde also has the universal left right via his 4P. This team is just oozing left right mix up all over the place. But really, I don't want to complicate the equation with this one because we don't need to. You Hyde is a team built on being overtly dominant in the neutral game. Both characters are neutral monsters with great assist kits, and they shine when it comes to just how much control they're able to have over the neutral when they work together. Watch Midori or Dante Thomas on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Alright, the pro tag trend ends here. We're gonna end with Blake. For some reason, Blake's 5P crosses up on block. Yes, even in the corner. So for Hyde, if you're looking to easily access active switch mix-ups, Blake can offer you that wherever you'd like. Okizeme, pressure, you decide. It's great. Blake 6P is also pretty cool for Hyde. Since Hyde JB is such a deep hitting cross-up with 2 hits, you get to explore some pretty interesting active switch setups thanks to the boomerang of an assist that Blake 6P is. Hyde's JC is also pretty baller for this situation. Blake 6P is decent for covering approaches, so you can do things like throw an orbiter, call 6P, and get him for free. Yeah, and like Blake Point, Blake's 2148 plus Hyde 5P, or really any of Blake's mobility plus Hyde 5P is an open invitation to party hard. Free mix-ups and coverage for days. This is the least damaging team we're mentioning here, but potentially the most dirty. Blake Hyde doesn't really have a dedicated main at the moment, but you shouldn't sleep on them. There's at least a page of footage of Blake Hyde on Replay Theater to get you started. If you don't use English voices for Chie, we can't be friends. Chie as a rushdown character wants one thing, and it's disgusting. Herculean Strike lunges across the screen and gets Chie in with advantage while accompanied by a Seth's Call walls or by spacing out the B version to hit late for plus frames. Dragon Kick is a combo tool, but is multifunctional as a neutral tool when performed with an assist to create cross-up scenarios. But let's get to the egregious Chie tools. She has a 6-frame 2A that sinks her so low to the ground, she can low profile certain attacks and projectiles. Chie's JC is one of the best airborne buttons in the game. It's an air stall, air coverage, and solo fuzzy overhead setup all in one button. Agniastra, this one speaks for itself, but Chie's real draw is that she deletes health bars. Power Charge is a super that is just a damage boost, that's it. It has 3 levels she can charge up to, and yeah, if you see this super being activated during a combo, especially a level 3 Power Charge, you're probably dead. Congratulations. Chie's partner choices are simple. Who enables Power Charge combos the best while also supplementing her neutral game with things like projectile coverage or lockdown options that can take advantage of the sandwich situations you can easily find with Dragon Kick. Now, the nature of wanting to optimize Power Charge conversions does limit Chie's options, but luckily for her, all of her partners are ridiculous characters. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, y'all can't handle the truth about this character. Here are 3 war crime teams you can play that feature Chie. You think I'm joking? Let's start with Adachi. Adachi's 6P help shot in the neutral game and 5P is potent for pressure sequences up close. These assists also let you do silly neutral actions such as Dragon Kick plus 6P for force left rights. And yeah, Zio is incredible for Chie. You can just throw Chie 6P out there to potentially force left rights with a Zio. You can even go for a B Zio in some instances to enforce pressure. It can prove difficult for some characters to punish Zio left rights properly, and it can be fatal if there are bad punish attempts. It's messed up. B Zio isn't the only way to enable Power Charge setups. You also have Magatsu Mandala and just Adachi's basic 5P. There's so much combo flexibility to kill a character for making a mistake here. And that's the nature of the team really. Chie pressures you alongside Adachi to put you in annoying situations until you flip a defensive option and then it's GG's. Chie Adachi can also speedrun a given BBTAG in 6 seconds. Watch Yui on Replay Theater for a visual guide. You know what happened next, right? Yumi. Yumi 6P help shot in the neutral game and 5P is potent for pressure sequences up close. He does also let you do silly neutral actions such as Dragon Kick plus 6P for force left rights. Wait a minute. Anyways, Air Raid. It's perhaps one of the most valuable, stable, and flexible power charge enabling options in the game. You can fit Air Raid into so many different contexts and active switch into Chie for a power charge conversion. For some reason, Air Raid locks out burst, so this allows Chie to find unburstable kills even in situations where an opponent's cross gauge is recovering rather than they committed something like a baited DP or burst. For how strong it is, this is a sort of criminally underutilized team. There's a few people who have it as a side team, but given its easy use, effectiveness in neutral, terrifying implications, and extremely accessible win condition, you'd think there would be more people who main Chie Yumi. There's some good matches to watch on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We finally made it to the last character of the aforementioned Big 3 in the Hilda episode. Hilda 4P, help shot in the neutral game, and yada yada yada, force left right, bottom text, whatever. Let's get to the unique stuff. Chie always has access to left right to some capacity, but with the Hilda point on this team, it's just an inevitability. Hilda's screen control buttons allow for Chie 6P calls to occur in uncontestable scenarios. So what comes alongside buttons with huge range? Active switch mix-ups with huge range. Yeah, don't worry, Hilda can still threaten the TOD angle of things, her 4P is well equipped to do so, but really this team has it all. When Chie is leading the charge, Hilda allows her to have more presence to the neutral and encourages some scary offense. While Hilda is on point, they get to play very slow, and Chie 6P enhances Hilda's air control, also forcing mix-ups. You get the best of both worlds with rushdown and zoning here. Watch Goda on Replay Theater for a visual guide. A character archetype that should have never been invented. Nu is commonly referred to as a point-and-click zoner. She's able to cover impactful yet specific areas of the screen with speedy normals at the simple click of a B button. A frequently glossed over component of Nu's kit and BBTAG though is how incredible she is at assist sniping. Moves like 5B can reactively punish assist calls. However, it's not just all space control with Nu. She got that Murakumo in her, so agility is also a part of the equation here. Her base movement is swift, and she also has access to Act Parser, which lets her dash cancel out of a lot of her normals. Act Parser can be used to create space, close space, or enforce mix-ups. Why would you go in with Nu? Well, her rushdown is actually good. EX Sickle Storm is a low-hitting special that wall bounces on hit, and is plus on block, while Legacy Edge is a super that fills the screen with projectiles, does a solid amount of chip, and allows Nu to threaten high-low mix-ups with her JC instant overhead. Nu is all about precision. She requires a mindset built around defensively repositioning yourself, covering proper areas of the screen without whiffing, and deciding when to approach, if ever. Some players are more aggressive, while others are committed to zoning. Additional projectiles, air coverage, and active ground game tools are qualities she values. Here are 3 partners for Nu who excel in these areas. The other Robo Girl, Batista. Batista's 4P covers a valuable angle for Nu. It's not that Nu can't cover the space, it's more so that this allows Nu to passively cover the space while retaining actions for other options. 5P is baller for some straight confirms and will lead to some lockdown potential while also allowing for some impactful ways to enable Nu's JC. One part of Nu's moveset I haven't highlighted yet is Spike Chaser. It's a move that chases you with spikes. People don't want to block this move, so they may be itching to jump, but that's where characters like Batista come in. Her reversal action has huge vertical range, so Spike Chaser plus Batista DP is pretty scary. It can even be safe. And neutral is about what you'd expect here. Lasers, spikes, orbs, swords, and just full-on unapologetic zoning. Nu Batista is proof that giving a zoner access to Batista's assists is always a good idea. Watch Elan Nu 13 on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We'll switch up the flow of things a bit with Naoto Kurogane. Hilariously, everything I just said about Batista's 4P applies here to Naoto K's 4P as well. His 6P also presents an interesting new way to sandwich. You can call Kurogane 6P with your B buttons to gel into some left-right situations. Kurogane Sway with Spike Chaser is a jump scare. If opponents jump out of fear in reaction to Spike Chaser, you can convince them that's a terrible idea when you smack them with the damaging Phantom Ping to confirm. There's even some validity to doing Banishing Fang and Neutral on this team. Nu's Spike Chaser 6P is exactly the type of assist you want to have falling behind you for safe advances. Kurogane Nu is here for a style of Nu play that's more aggressive. In order to extract the full value out of tools like Kurogane 6P, you'll need to naturally play closer to the opponent. And given the potential rewards for playing this way, it's well worth the switch up in playstyle. Watch Dora Bang on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Oh wow, look, it's my sleep paralysis demon. Act Parser plus Hilda 4P. What an option. But really, we can extract so much more out of this team. For example, consider the following. Act Parser plus Hilda 6P. No, for real though, let's talk about Nu's 4P Gravity Seed. Nu places the field on the ground, which reduces the opponent's horizontal mobility and momentum. This is useful on Batista team too, but boy is it handy here. Nu Hilda is all about positioning and staying in control, so placing Gravity Seed and stalling for time to reconfigure neutral is excellent. If you have an opponent who's susceptible to Hilda's high lows, then Spike Chaser is going to pull some weight in making these mix-ups safer. Additionally, Hilda's DP is absurd for Spike Chaser or unblockables. Nu and Hilda are extremely aligned. Nu Hilda requires wise foresight and patience to pilot, but feels unbeatable when it's mastered. You know who to watch for this, it's in his name. Watch L on Nu 13 again on Replay Theater for a visual guide. A character who is far too pure for a game this dirty. Celica is designed to be a quirky rushdown character, but she's a bit of a mixed bag. There's a common outsider sentiment surrounding BBTAG characters that they are incomplete designs due to the character not retaining the full kit from their original game. In my opinion, this critique falls flat on its face when it comes to every character's implementation of BBTAG, except for Celica. Now, does this mean Celica is the worst character in the game? No, not quite. What it actually means is that Celica was clearly intended to play around recovering red health values so she can go into her unique enhanced state, but in practice, that's a task that's borderline impossible when a game is chaotic with BBTAG, where taking a simple point of chip damage destroys the entire archetype you're built around. So in reality, Celica ends up relying on tools like her JC for instant overheads and force sandwiches, her 214B for potentially universal safe axe switch mix-ups, and her 5A and 5B normals for ground game patrol leading solid round start and pressure options. What this also means is that Celica is a point character that you need to build around. You can't just slap her on any team, so her kit requires enabling the function, and her overall support value is going to be on the lower end. Choosing partners that ensure her safety, assist her neutral for approaches and anti-airs, and honestly give her a game plan are things that you should look out for. Here are 3 proven Celica teams for you to consider. Beginning with Naoto Shirogane. Celica's 5B auto combo is oftentimes used on block for forced sandwiches, however this string has natural gaps. She's liable to be punished against aware opponents. Shirogane 5P does an excellent job in covering the initial gap of 5BB and applying a layer of safety for left-right axe switch mix-ups on 5BBB, which will recover some HP on hit. Shirogane 6P is also some baller ground coverage to cover your approaches or layer your mix-ups. We love a good dive kick plus projectile assist around these parts. You know what else we love? Unblockables and alternative win conditions. As with any Shirogane team, you will be able to use B double Fang's active switch for the universal unblockable active switch setup, and the marks and insta kills could be something you build for. Celica even has a way to be useful during the insta kill animation by healing. You're gonna find some great Celica support here. It's anti-air options, safety, screen presence, and more, all coming from Naoto Shirogane. Watch Mystery Racer on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We got Hilda in the mix. We love a good dive kick plus projectile assist around these parts. No, we really do. Hilda 4P is an insane assist with massive green coverage, and so with Celica Hilda, you're heavily permitted to utilize Celica's JC dive kick much more confidently and effectively. What's also neat is the 5P gap coverage that we just discussed with Naoto Shirogane also applies to Hilda 5P. The difference is that Hilda's left a bit further back than Naoto is, so situationally, you'll have even more established layers of safety to some reversal actions that cover both sides. If you're feeling cheeky, there's some healing schemes you can cook up with Hilda's 2 360 pillars since the move is unburstable. And although not nearly as potent, Hilda does also have a dive kick that can cross up. It's just not going to be as strong supported by Celica, but situationally it may be effective. This team isn't really for Hilda anyways, it's really all about maxing out your dive kick potential with Celica, so if that sounds fun to you, check it out. Watch Tomo A on Replay Theater for a visual guide. The other Naoto. Rather than putting yourself in danger with an attempted 5BB for a sandwich, Kurogane 6P can just force a sandwich situation for you in a safer way. There's a few ways to set this up on block and even on hit where you may be able to cheese some health regeneration out of the confirms. Kurogane's 4P is always a valuable anti-air asset on any team, but especially on this team where it's built around making Celica less committal. It'll even allow you to sneak some healing out of the high hits that it provides. Celica offers one of those delayed projectile assists that can cover Kurogane's A-Record series meaningfully on hit and on block. Both Celica 5P and 6P comfortably enable Phantom Pain conversions for some combo flexibility. And speaking of Phantom Pain, you can call Celica 4P to heal during the hit animation due to the burst lockout properties of this move. This is a nice dual-sided synergy team. Celica and Kurogane benefit from each other's presence, so it's worth a shot if you like both characters. There's a few replays from Unsafe on Hit on Replay Theater for a visual guide. She has a persona and ain't even from Persona. Orie is a well-rounded rapier character with solid pokes, stable neutral, good gap closing tools, and a flexible game plan. She has no apparent flaws, but no major strengths, making her quite average. She's a stable character that relies on your knowledge of movement, game mechanics, and understanding of your opponent to be effective. Well, wait a minute, I didn't script this. This is just the first minute of Lon Lil's comprehensive BBTAG beginner Orie guide on YouTube that I'll link in the description. My bad. Anyways, tools like 5A and JA let you actively control the ground and airspace, while 2B is a phenomenal anti-air with a generous hitbox that extends even to her hair. The Orie's high-low game can prove stressful as she cycles between her command order specials, the 214A low and the TK214A overhead. She'll even have access to left-right mix-ups if you do the T variation of her 214A for the flip. All in all, Orie is quite fair. Sure, there's some character-defining strength that is present within her reach, mix-up and Okizeme potential, but she's kept in place by having lower damage output. You want partners that apply lockdown to allow for your mix-up game to shine, projectile coverage that can enhance your ground game, or air assists of some kind that can amplify the presence of tools like her JA. Here are 3 Orie teams worth noting. Starting things off on Team Double Rapier with Weiss. From the start of a round, Orie Weiss can make you feel immediately overwhelmed thanks to Weiss's strong round start options. Combining tools like Weiss 5A and JA alongside Orie 6P or 5P can put the opponent in pressure before they have an opportunity for a rebuttal. Orie can reap great hit stun benefits from Weiss 4P and 5P and pop successful mix-ups or JA air to airs, while Weiss will gain damaging cross-combo conversions with Orie's brutal 5P and a nightmarish Okizeme tool in the corner thanks to Orie's 4P. And Weiss 6P even adds a valuable projectile element to Orie's approach. There's not only synergy here, but also parallels, as Orie and Weiss are quite similar in a lot of ways. Miraculously, these two manage to complement each other and can be a real powerhouse together. Watch Hashimo or Lotad on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Moving over to Hilda. We're gonna talk about Hilda 4P. A lot. It's awesome alongside your JA, as you'll easily stabilize air-to-air confirms with it. But when we dig deeper, you'll realize that somehow Hilda 4P is the perfect assist for literally every version of Divine Thrust. All versions and spacings of Divine Thrust plus Hilda 4P are advantageous on block and give a combo on hit. You can do 214A plus Hilda 4P and it's gapless. This has enough block stun to let Orie perform the flip follow-up and still present a left-right active switch mix-up. Orie offers decent support to Hilda as well. 5P is a serviceable tool for JC cross-ups, and 6P can be thrown out with ease for ground control and potential active switch situations. This team is hilarious because Orie is supercharged thanks to literally just one assist. But Factory and Hilda's other qualities alongside Orie will grant you a space control mix-up dispensing engine of a team that is extremely potent. Watch Tomoe on Replay Theater for a visual guide. And we'll cap it off with Batista. Batista perfectly checks the boxes of everything we outlined that Orie wants. Lockdown for your mix-ups, that's all 5P. You can do your high-lows at different intervals and get it confirmed thanks to Batista's extended hit animation. Projectile options? Batista 6P is a stellar tool for that. You can opt to run alongside it or call it with a Divine Thrust. Batista 6P will let you get a combo off of C Divine Thrust, and it's also not bad for forcing some sneaky cross-up situations or creating some potential active switch mix-ups. Assists that cover the air? While Batista is in, you'll mostly be playing things slow and stabilizing the neutral while stalling for an opportunity to bring Orie back in. Orie Batista is a team that's easy, effective, and efficient. Your damage output is going to be low, but if you're willing to accept that to use one of Orie's best teams, you're in for a treat. I personally recommend watching Lotad for a visual guide. This dude is literally fueled by the power of friendship. He has to work with somebody. Yuna Arakami is the everything man in this game because he does everything, man. I'm sorry. Between his jump cancelable 5A, double hitting JA, throwbait machine JB, a JC that double functions as an instant overhead and a dive kick, and his 214 lariat swift strike, frequently known as Zeokar, you is well equipped to cover the screen actively. However, he's also able to cover the screen passively. Zio in itself is already a solid fireball, but EX Zio is on an entirely different scale of power. As a standalone option, it's +7 on block and grants an easily confirmable situation on hit. The icing on the cake for EX Zio though is that you can charge and release it at will, giving you what is basically a self-enabled assist call. This would already be enough for Narukami, but he also carries over a vast amount of persona displacement techniques, which lets him enact extremely long pressure sequences on block. Since these strings are backed by persona properties, attempting to push block you is futile. There's a lot of other perks to Yuna Arakami that I can't fit into this section, but just know that he is an extremely flexible, supportive, formidable, and streamlined character. He was really looking for big lockdown opportunities and characters who will complement his active switch heavy playstyle for oppressive scenarios. Here are 3 more great U teams worth highlighting. The big Susano'o. From a neutral standpoint, Susano'o 6P is a dominant and nearly instant ground game control that Narukami can formulate offense around or use as an opportunity to set up some Zio nonsense. It can also make options like Zeokar advantageous or provide a combo on hit with the cross combo activation. Grand Viper Lockdown is a free ticket for Narukami to run his patented and snare dash mix-ups, where opponents may be guessing between 1, 2, 3, 4, or even no overhead to use JA and JC options. Should you land some active switches with you, Susano'o is more than able to deliver some respectable damage output. Both Narukami and Susano'o present threatening Okizeme options that will only loop into more pressure upon successful hit. So this team is an aggressive death ball of a comp fit for individuals who like to fight up close. Watch Monkey, Hachi, or Frame 96 on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Bringing back old reliable Akatsuki. Akatsuki 5P Tatsu is significant lockdown for really all purposes you can cook up. You can use it to extend pressure, but it's also really solid to use for Narukami's JC instant overhead. Your advantageous on block and get a super comfortable confirm on hit thanks to the wall bounce. Akatsuki 6P also functions similarly to the Susano'o 6P we just covered, but you don't even need cross combo to confirm with Akatsuki. As is the case with every Akatsuki team, you have beat Tatsu unblockables. Narukami's 4P has an obscenely long active switch window, which you can use to force unblockable setups mid-screen. With proper resources, you can potentially create 2-touch sequences. Akatsuki just fits all the essentials Narukami wants, yet the two characters are able to bring out some unique nuances out of each other. There's not a ton of footage for this team, so it's a bit conceptual, but there's a few vods on Replay Theater to get you started. Well, I for one definitely believe in their friendship. Adachi brings us JB, 5B, and Azio to this team. And when you combine these options with Narukami's assist, mix-ups and pressure are constant. Azio is really the danger point here though, because a blocked Azio combined with Narukami's 5P or 6P can enforce B-Zio setups that are in most cases impossible to escape, leaving the opponent subject to defending against Narukami's nonsense. Adachi 5P and Heat Riser also have enough block stuff for Narukami to play with, and although this corner still 5P trick with Narukami is universal, it's extremely threatening on this comp. These are two of some of the best characters in the game, and they work well together, so surprise, you get one of the best teams in the game. There's way more to this team than what I've covered, and there's over 300 matches of this team being played on Replay Theater, but I personally recommend watching Okada, Yusuro 7, or Dante Thomas for a visual guide. Pretty good. Since Ruby characters are specifically made for BBTAG, they tend to have kits that naturally fit the game. In Ruby Rose's case, she ends up embodying BBTAG perfectly. Ruby's normals are incredible. Due to the speed, range, and chain options of your A normals, Ruby's tick pressure can be super overwhelming, and if she's out of range of these normals, she gets to introduce her B normals. She has these insane scythe swings she can use for rushdown down, air-to-air, and even cross-up nullification, as her 5B infamously hits behind her. Gun Blast is a multifaceted command dash with a lot of different trajectories that can chain into each other. It's a core tool for combos, neutral, and creating mix-up scenarios. And Ruby's active switch tools are notoriously ridiculous. In the air, you have Buzzsaw Blast as an option, but more notably, B Potshot is insanely good lockdown. Her assists are also best in class. A 5P that can cross up, a standard bullet 6P, and one of the most tilting 4P anti-air assists in the game. Ruby is one of the most well-rounded characters in BBTAG. She's a perfect soldier and a great choice if you want someone who is easy to pick up and scales well into high-level play. She's quite flexible and solid, so it's actually hard to say what exactly Ruby needs in a partner, but here are 3 of her more potent teams that are simple, effective, and proven. Gotta start with Adachi. Adachi's 5P gets the job done when it comes to lockdown for things like safe jumps, and his 6P can be a low-commit neutral option to supplement Ruby's approach. However, both 5P and 6P are criminally good for Ruby's Gun Blast, as silent situations can be created out of nowhere with this team. It's hard to feel bad for Adachi about anything, but he is quite subpar in the anti-air department, so giving him access to Ruby's 4P is a godsend for him. And then of course, Xiao. Between her 5P, 6P, Buzzsaw Blast, and Potshot, there are no shortage of ways this team can enforce Xiao setups. You can play Ruby Adachi aggressive into the opponent, cycling pressure for days and forcing offense, or you can play passive and slow, covering areas of the screen until approaching is in your best interest. Watch Monkey 4012 or Sykes on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Now on to Chie. The traditional bullet projectile assist Ruby provides is great for Chie's neutral and pressure game. This is yet another team where you're going to be able to find sandwich mix-ups relatively easily, and since you'll have tools like 5BB coexisting with Ruby's Potshot for active switches, blocking this team is going to be really annoying. Admittedly, Chie's assist kit isn't going to be giving the world to Ruby in the neutral game. It's serviceable, but this team works because Ruby doesn't really need that support. Not only is Ruby pretty self-sufficient, she also functions fairly meterlessly, which allows for this team to stockpile resources for big damage conversions. Ruby's Buzzsaw is an exceptional tool to enable power charge confirms and cash out big on your savings. This team is naturally rushdown heavy, and there is an esoteric skill to Ruby Chie as it relates to situational recognition for combo routing, but if you're down for that, you'll be rewarded. Watch Chop Suey on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Alright, now wait, just hear me out. This team kinda just does it all. There are shades of everything we've discussed so far in this short that are available for this team. Yumi's 5P is amazing for lockdown and left-right situations, Snowbirds are good projectile control, and may even apply some freeze elements that Ruby can work with. It's also worth mentioning that both of these characters have great mobility coupled with huge hit stun techniques, meaning it's nearly impossible to drop active switch combos with them, which is nice because they do have huge damage. There's really not much more to go over here. Ruby Yumi is a team composed of 2 very easy and very strong characters, so it's no surprise that when you combine them, you get what is, in my opinion, probably the most accessible competitive team out there. You can pick it up easily, it'll naturally teach you the fundamentals of BBTAG, and it scales well in high-level play. Watch Techno Eastside or Monkey 4012 on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Stop yapping about Justice Challenge, impossible. Izuyoi is a highly mobile rushdown character who can zip around the screen and apply threatening mix-ups. She has unique cover dash which grants her swift, high-hitting options. The main threat of Izuyoi lies in applying these high-low mix-ups as frequently as possible since they are very tough to defend against, so as a result, the remainder of Izuyoi's kit is focused on space control tools. Her Sonic Saber projectiles are effective as is, but Izuyoi can also opt to teleport with Mirage Thruster after using them, which is huge. She also has Crusade Seraphim Slashes for solid air and ground coverage. Combining these tools together makes the opponent second guess their approach, and once they're locked down, it's time to guess. If Izuyoi hits you, she can maintain the pressure with consistent safe jump setups. Speaking of lockdown, Izuyoi's assist kit is pretty standard, but her 6P is extremely notable. It's her B Sonic Saber assist, which provides huge blocks and values for her partners. Izuyoi can be a team player on some compositions, but she's mostly poised to be a frontrunner on her ideal teams. It's imperative that she has access to assist and active switch tools that enforce high block stuns so she can run her mix-ups. It's also not a bad idea to give her projectile assist that she can fly behind with her unique dash. So here's 3 Izuyoi teams you should try for yourself. I choose you. Use 5P and 4P different range, but are both high blocks and assists with wide active switch windows. You can call them for Izuyoi within relevant context to apply scary mix-up sequences. A traditional projectile 6P assist goes a long way for Izuyoi as she can fly behind passive Xiao calls. For active switches, Xiao Cart is all you need. When you combine a multi-hit low special with Izuyoi's offense, you get to create frustrating defensive scenarios for the opponent that aren't quite unblockables, but annoying nonetheless. High block stun is the name of the game for Narukami's pressure construction, so letting him utilize an assist like Izuyoi 6P is only amplifying his already existent inherent strengths. Narukami Izuyoi is so cohesive by design. Izuyoi gets everything she could possibly want, and Yu is always flexible in his role to provide a potent game plan, so you really can't go wrong with this team. There's not a ton of footage for this team, but you can find some VODs on Replay Theater. Got another one of them Adachi teams for y'all. Izuyoi being able to utilize BZO is really a dream sequence for her, as she's able to get multiple mix-up opportunities while it's active. Zio setups can be created on block thanks to Izuyoi's high block stun 6P, and even on hit if you want to employ the utility of Izuyoi's long hit stun 4P. It's not all just Zio though. Just Adachi's base 5P alone applies significant block stun that lets Izuyoi do her thing. You'll even be able to opt for sandwiches if you'd like. And although it may not be a traditional projectile, Adachi 6P is still a phenomenal tool for easy to call and fly around with thanks to his tracking properties. Similarly to Rachel Adachi, this is another snowball composition that's less focused on dual-sided synergy and more focused on front-loading offense. If the idea of having a suffocating presence as Izuyoi is something that excites you, then Adachi may be the partner you seek. Watch Mr. Eater or Shige on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Ah, hell no, she got Buddy to yap about justice with? Orie's 5P provides some great advancing lockdown for high-low mix-ups, and the assist does a lot of damage, making the rewarding your Izuyoi mix-ups even more worthwhile. 6P Divine Thrust does its job, but the real highlight is EX Divine Thrust as an axis switch tool. EX Divine Thrust will provide some amazing lockdown for Izuyoi and is an easy confirmation, most notably in sandwich scenarios. If you want just as much block stun value out of an assist though, that's where Orie's 4P comes in. It's extremely active and persistent, and it can't be push blocked. With proper setup, it's a free ticket for Izuyoi to run offense. It's not all Izuyoi on this team though, as Orie has a high-low mind game on her own that Izuyoi is able to enable exceptionally with her 6P. Because Orie and Izuyoi synergize so well, either of them can bring home the W, but Izuyoi is definitely eating good with Orie on her side. So consider this team if you think you could do it some justice. I'm sorry. Watch Shige on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Big meaty claws! Waldstein has always been an intriguing design for a character not only within BBTAG, but just fighting games period. He's a grappler with less mobility and a slower moveset, but counterintuitively, he's also equipped with a wide array of long-range techniques that can even delete projectiles. This allows for Waldstein to uniquely make up for traditional grappler weaknesses. Moves like 5A and 5B employ a convincing mid-range ground game threat, while his JB is a massive air-to-air tool. For some reason, Waldstein JA can instant overhead most characters, but even then, Waldstein 2B is the normal that's personally tilted me the most. It's an anti-air that reaches obscenely high, which makes it a super hard option to contest or bait if you take to the skies. Robowind is an incredible access tool, and it also happens to be his 6P assist, so you have constant access to this maneuver with Waldstein on your team. And yes, the grappler command grabs you on the ground, in the air, with a super, and if the situation calls for it, even with an astral. Usually, when BB-tag characters need to be up close to be effective, they seek partners who have a projectile or string control element to make that task easier. But beyond that, Waldstein also likes partners who take advantage of the more eccentric parts of his kit. Characters make use of Robowind for pressure and utilize his length to 2BB and command throws of axe switch confirmations create really strong dual-sided synergy. With that in mind, let's go over 3 strong Waldstein teams worth checking out. Starting with my boy Akihiko. Akihiko's 5P and 6P were basically made for Waldstein 236A. Wald's 236A is a swipe that covers a massive distance but has the flaws of being disadvantageous on block and underwhelming on hit as a standalone maneuver. With Akihiko's assistance, you can implement varied sequences for value on block and on hit. Once you bring in Akihiko thanks to Waldstein's high hit stun, you can start putting up cyclone levels or look for high impact starters. Akihiko 6P also ducks super low to the ground before striking full screen, which makes this a valuable ground themed tool. This video is focused on Waldstein, but trust me, Akihiko also benefits from the lockdown space control that Waldstein brings to the team. It's a mutually beneficial composition aimed towards skipping neutral and being an absolute damage machine. It's simple as that. Watch Hachi or Pokedude on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Another Persona boy, Yosuke. Wall 5P holds down the neutral, but 6P and 4P are where the sauce is at. Wall 6P applies lockdown to your pressure and forces left-right mix-ups with Yosuke's moonsault. This can be easier said than done to escape with push block. Wall's 4P on the other hand has a natural gap which pairs perfectly alongside V-Slash. You'll get ambiguous side swap situations out of nowhere that are extremely easy to confirm off of. Conversely, Yosuke's 6P is a great ground coverage for Walled, and 5P can create those valuable 236A situations you were talking about. Both characters have restands tied to their smart combos, so there's a world of restand mix-up potential out there for Yosuke Waldstein that's waiting to be explored. You're combining an agile rushdown character with a brooding control-based grappler with Yosuke Waldstein, so this is a bit of an opposite attract team, but there's loads of opportunity with it. There's not a ton of footage on Replay Theater for Waldstein Yosuke, but Asakaya did a ton of work with this team on their EVO Japan 2024 run, so check them out. Finishing things off with Hakumen. This team just swats projectiles out of the sky no matter who is on point. Hakumen swats are noteworthy though, as it'll gain this team the screen presence of Orb upon successful slash. You'll need cross gauge to cover some approach options with this team, but the trade-off for Waldstein Hakumen would be the other pressure, mix-up, and damage sequences you'll gain. For pressure, Wald 6P and 5P are exceptional for mind games off of Hakumen's 5B options to close distance. This includes basic things like strike, throw, or more layered options like the Dentetsu active switch, which can create fuzzy or even unblockable setups with Waldstein's JA. When this team hits, there's plenty of ways to destroy a life bar. Most notably, Wald's long hit animation can enable full charge Shippu confirms. Ouch! Waldstein Hakumen is menacing. With projectile nullification and screen coverage on their side, they'll prep so effectively that you'll forget that they are 2 of the slower characters in the game. Watch XX_goo_babies_babies_babies on Replay Theater for a visual guide. I know the wait for this one has been unbearable. Oh my god. Teddy is an item toss character, and we don't condone the usage of item toss characters in this house. Luckily, none of you live in my house, so you're free to do what you want. Just don't ask me for games. When we say item toss character, we're basically referring to Teddy's Mystery Teddy Special, which is bound to 214 attacks and its 4P assists. Teddy will throw 1 or 2 of 13 items onto the field in the set order, and these items impact the game state in ways that could benefit his team or the opponent. There's so many different items like the muscle drink, which kills anyone who picks it up, the vanish ball, which creates a smoke screen, the oil drum, I don't want to discuss this one, and the Amagi bucket, a move that is absolutely broken if you're playing against Teddy without audio. Teddy's other defining characteristics would be the ease in which he forces left-right mix-ups. Bear Screw achieves sandwich situations exceptionally and can be executed on point or as an assist. With proper enabling, Teddy's a sound generating machine, and without push block, there's barely any counter. Alright, I'm gonna stop now. Solid Teddy play is defined by making sense of the chaos that this character will create. There's a high skill ceiling with Teddy, and he can opt to play in a passive item-based manner or with an aggressive left-right mix-up based approach. With that, Teddy loves characters that either keep people in place so he can toss items, or characters that take advantage of or enable easy sandwich creation, or both. Here's 3 potential teammates for the bear. Let's talk Yuzuriha. Teddy 6P easily enables Yuzu Slash specialist for his mix-ups and confirms. The assist even has a long axe switch window to make things more tricky. However, Teddy's 5P is the start of the show. The cross-up on block property guarantees mix-ups on safe jumps or even just in neutral. Bear Screw combined with Yuzuriha 6P is just lovely. It's an easily confirmable wall-bound situation on hit and a cross-up with an advantage on block. Good luck! Teddy's 5P is a grounded normal that reaches extremely far, and combining it with Yu's 6P will allow for more layered pressure sequences from long distance. This can allow for things like a free item toss that can still give Teddy enough time to confirm on hit. JC is an instant overhead that can cross up even in the corner, and using 6P will let you get a combo on hit or be advantageous on block. Teddy Yuzuriha is going to cross you up a lot. If being a distance demon that can turn into a mix-up machine sounds appealing, then this is an option for you. This is one of those concept teams though, both characters are quite rare. Now let's go with Hilda. Bear Screw plus Hilda 4P. We can safely assume the obvious implications here. I mean, combo on hit, cross up on block, the usual. But what sets Hilda 4P apart though is the high hit launching hit stun. Teddy has combo routing with a reverse hitbox with B item toss that can lead to really impactful damage and item rotation. So Hilda granting this on an already prominent situation is so nice. She has other options that allow for this routing as well, like DP and 5P. You can use Teddy 6P to potentially fill gaps on Hilda's pressure, but come on, you know we're going to talk about the 5P Bear Screw. In pressure strings, we have vacuum normals here. Mix up. For Oki, mix up. For Hilda's JA instant overhead, mix up. In neutral, a lot of characters are encouraged to chase after Hilda's zoning by dash blocking. It'd be a real shame if they were to dash into Teddy 5P because, well, mix up. This team has some shades of Hilda Seth in it, and if you watch my Seth short, then you know how terrifying of a sentence that is to say. Hilda Teddy is super strong. Watch Tohru Adachi in our replay theater for a visual guide. You're going to be watching a lot of who? If you tap 5P on either character, you're going to be swapping sides. Blake's 5P is even better for achieving this since her 5P is harder to push block, and she can cross up at the corner. Teddy's 5P isn't to be fully outclassed here though. His multi-hit lockdown ground presence allows Blake to lean heavier on mobility aspects of her kit, as opponents can get caught by Teddy trying to approach her. With Teddy on point, the Bear Screw enabling we've become accustomed to is provided thanks to Blake's 6P. It's all good. And I mean, let's just put all the pieces together, shall we? You combine everything these two have to offer, and blocking their nonsense just becomes a complete mess. If you don't want to hold the mix, you're going to burn through push blocks against this team like crazy. If you reset to neutral, you're going to ask, how do I get in? While you're stuck in thought, Teddy Blake strikes, put you in a mix-up, and the cycle continues. Watch Pizza Mayo on replay theater for a visual guide. No, her best partner is not Andy Bogard, not here at least. Mai is an all-arounder, centered around range and mobility, but she has some flavors of uniqueness that make her kit quite dynamic. Normals like 5A, 2B, and 2C are mid-range menaces, and she also has a JA that is phenomenal for cross-ups. But then we have normals like her 5B and JB. These buttons don't feel like normals at all, as they feel more like specials. 5B and JB are her X-Seal projectiles that she can charge up and throw in a variety of different directions. X-Seal is amazing when you need a swift strike for instances like punishing assist calls. For mobility, she has a command dash, Juncture, tied to 236, and a command flip Moon Blossom tied to 214. Juncture is great for offensive gap closing, and it has a lunging lariat follow-up called Himiyuri, which is also her infamously great 5P assist. Moon Blossom has defensive applications with frames with invulnerability attached to it, and last but not least, Mai's reversal action is a huge positive point. It covers a valuable diagonal angle and can even grant some combo conversions if you call proper assists alongside it. Mai isn't necessarily difficult, but relatively low damage, less intuitive buttons, and awkward long range confirms leave her as a relatively niche BBTAG pick. Characters who enable Mai's reversal action or can utilize Himiyuri 5P are value picks. Here are 3 great partners that work with Mai Natsume. Beginning with Ruby Rose. For Ruby, you will be able to create plenty of compromising situations with an assist like Mai 5P. You can assure that the threat will be created with the assist call on block, within crosses, and on hit. Ruby is fast enough to convert off the wall bounces at varied distances. As for Mai, literally all of Ruby's assists are noteworthy. 5P will have the universal application of allowing for cross-up potential on confirms, and 4P is an effective anti-air assist that will pair well with Mai's airburn tactics. But it's the 6P that is the moneymaker for Mai. Not only will Ruby 6P hold on the neutral, but it can also let you confirm off a Himiyuri without spending resources. Mai and Ruby are both extremely mobile neutral demons, so pairing them together just makes sense. It's not the best Ruby team, but for Mai's POV, the control you'll have over a match feels great. Watch P-Blade on replay theater for a visual guide. An infamous Mai partner, Yumi. DP plus assist isn't the sole reason why this team is good, but it is a big reason, as Yumi 6P combos from Mai's DP at basically every spacing. DP plus 6P works as a quick reaction to an airborne opponent, or as a bait where you call Yumi 6P, run at the opponent with Mai, and punish scared opponents for jumping. Aerial Rave is a ridiculous move, but it's even more beneficial when Yumi's partner can abuse a long hit stun, and Mai falls into this category. You can charge up an X-Seal Spear to create extremely damaging routes on situations like DP and burst punishes. Yumi with Mai 5P is also nice, and she has speed coupled with her far-reaching 5B to threaten simple and damage confirms from just pure neutral interactions. Mai Yumi's game plan isn't anything too special. It's really neutral based, but your rewards for playing the team well are juice, so if this team fits your playstyle, you're set. Watch Totally Drew or Monkey 4012 on replay theater for a visual guide. Something a little different, Waldstein. Waldstein's 5P has the benefit of being a huge sweeping strike with some vertical reach to it too. The obvious application for this would be on Mai's Himiyuri, but given the high hitbox of Wald's 5P, you can also find confirms on tools like Mai's JC. This will allow for Mai's far horizontal air-to-air coverage to suddenly lead to conversions. Waldstein also checks the DP plus assist box for Mai with the 6P, but a 6P can be used for lockdown to force easy sandwich scenarios alongside Mai's huge cross of JA. Wald lacks the speed of the aforementioned picks in the short, so you will have to be a bit more mindful of ranges for Mai's 5P confirms, but Waldstein can circumvent some of his limitations thanks to his range. Mai Waldstein is a composition that's centered around control and neutral. You have huge range on both characters, solid conversion potential, and threatening implications that highlight most of Mai's tools with Wald support. Watch P-Blade on the replay theater for a visual guide. Susano'o will never be ballin'. Susano'o is a character who becomes scarier the closer he gets to you. From afar, there's not much. His unique dash has slow momentum on the initial startup frame, so it could be hard for him to get into his effective range. The good news is he doesn't need to be that close to be in his effective range. 5A and 2C are normals with notable reach, and his JB is an awesome instant air dash normal. The party gets started for Susano'o when he is even closer though. His stagger pressure is relentless, and a big reason for that is his 4A. Susano'o's 4A is advantageous on block, and figuring out when to challenge it is very stressful for two big reasons. One, if you're wrong, Susano'o gets to punish you with his absurd damage output. Two, Susano'o can actually bait certain reversals with 4A, especially when it's used as a meaty. If you just block forever, this allows Susano'o to show options like Megalith for even more plus frames. You're stuck. As dominant as he is on point, Susano'o is not without a support value. His 6P is laser sharp bullet style space control, and dancing dual kick, commonly referred to as Grand Viper, is a multi-hit low lockdown maneuver. It's one of the best active switch tools in the game. What Susano'o wants in a partner is fairly straightforward. Characters that help him get in, characters who make use of Grand Viper, and characters who can match or enable his damage output to make the prospect of getting hit by him a nightmare scenario. Here are 3 solid Susano'o teams for you. Akatsuki kicks us off this time around. Susano'o's anti-air game can be a bit spotty, so Akatsuki 4P covers him. Akatsuki's 5P is great lockdown, which can allow for Susano'o to reposition or confirm with ease. And yes, Akatsuki's 6P is just a traditional projectile assist, but this type of assist is always valuable for Susano'o. The trait that Akatsuki and Susano'o share is that they both have multi-hit lockdown specials, and when you combine two characters like this together, this always means pressure is seemingly never ending. Susano'o's Grand Viper is extremely difficult to push block, so if you're in a cross combo situation, there's so many opportunities for Akatsuki to set up a beat top 2 active switch. Once that happens, you're in the unblockable mind game. Unblockables are a minor perk in the grand scheme of things though. Susano'o Akatsuki is a team that thrives off of the constant strike throw mind games generated with pure ease. There are various replays in Replay Theater for a visual guide. Ruby is back again. Ruby 4P is one of the best anti-air assists in the game, and she provides a traditional projectile assist for her 6P as well. Since Ruby's 4P is so huge, Susano'o can use it as a layer of safety to enable its own airborne approaches by passively jumping alongside it to destroy air-to-air attempts. Ruby also provides some potent multi-hit specials to Susano'o like Pot Shot and Buzzsaw Blast for active switches, which will add on to Susano'o's pressure. Ruby is pretty self-sufficient, but the threat of Susano'o's 6P gives her a whole new layer to her game plan. When she's running at you with Susano'o's 6P behind her, Ruby can ensure that you'll either have to stay grounded and be subject to potential cross-ups, or change the skies, which is where she typically reigns supreme. There's also significance to Grand Viper for Ruby since her JC can grant an unblockable alongside it. Susano'o Ruby is a team that basically forces interaction. 6P is always a ground coverage threat on both sides, so if you want a team built for rushdown, this is a solid choice. Watch Monkey 4012 on Replay Theater for a visual guide. This one is menacing. Yumi. Beyond just being an anti-air, Yumi's 4P also comfortably stabilizes Susano'o's JB as an approach tool. Yumi 5P is one of the best lockdown assists in the game, and Susano'o can easily find value from it on hit and on block. And although not a traditional projectile assist, Yumi 6P does still lob the triple snowbird, which can make for a delayed yet lingering ground coverage to allow Susano'o to approach. Susano'o Yumi won't have unblockables, but they still have these messed up fuzzy mix-ups no matter who is on point. Susano'o provides Yumi with the 6P snipe that can very easily convert in sizable damage, and 5P is mostly good for forcing sandwiches mid-screen after air rave. To be honest, that's kinda it. So why is this team so strong? Well, the reality is, Susano'o Yumi runs extremely passive, safe, and annoying pressure while posing some of the highest damage potential in the game no matter who touches you. Blocking this team can feel like a ticking time bomb, and the moment you panic, you're right where they want you and your life bar is gone. Watch Zero's Shadow Blood or Neptastic on Replay Theater for a visual guide. I swear, if any of you in the comments say Orie, you're going to jail. Merkava is screen control in the sense of, he just spreads himself across the screen in order to control it. Classy. This core concept is what fuels the majority of his kit. Rather than having a traditional double jump, Merkava floats in the air, and his air dash is replaced with a glide across the screen. Merkava's glide is active during its travel and can cancel into his incredible jump normals. Merkava has stretchy limb normals and specials such as a 5B that is a solid mid-range option, a massive JA that when paired with his glide is a match made in heaven, I drilled through as a valuable lockdown tool for active switching and assists, and I capture and devour is a full screen ground or air capture state strike that is typically safe. Merkava is also a bit of a utility demon, supporting a delayed projectile coverage assist with 6P, a 2B that vacuums opponents, and for some reason not one, but 2 instant overheads between JB and JC. Merkava is a master of positioning in airspace. Merkava's best buddies 10% assists that work with glide, ground support with far reach and simplified confirmation options, or lockdown. Here are 3 friends for Merkava. I mean, Merkava kinda moves like a phantom. Merkava really suffers against zoners, so right off the bat, pairing Merkava with 9 and anti-zoning Queen is super valuable. Merkava's 5P and 6P are flexible options for 9 to teleport with. As far as enabling glide goes, 9-6P is one of the best to ever do it. She controls a huge chunk of the ground in a delayed cadence that perfectly supports Merkava's glide. Once either character hits you, you go to the corner to face horrors beyond your comprehension. Instant overheads, corner stealing, unblockables, the grimy stuff. Merkava supports 9's most egregious spells. His 5P provides enough lockdown, even post push block from Morganite unblockables, that his 214A active switch has enough hits enough for Nephrite activations, which are some of 9's best conversions. Merkava and 9 are quirky characters that are usually reserved for character specialists, so pairing them together can be daunting. However, the rewards for committing to a team like this are very high, so don't sleep on it if it interests you. Watch Kaoruko on Replay Theater for a visual guide. This series doesn't mention Shirogane enough, to be honest. For double fang setups, Merkava can provide gapless setups with his 5P, and is suited to provide a quick enough low option to create the unblockable. Merkava's 5P is also just good for controlling space, applying gunshot pressure with an active switch layer, or going into marks and insta kills. If that's not enough, Merkava's 214 is a perfect opportunity to set Shirogane up for comfortable routing of her choice. Merkava is naturally very burst safe and meter conservative, so the marks and insta kill game plan is stable and effective here. For Merkava's benefit, Shirogane 6P is a big deal. She's able to cover his glide effortlessly, so much so that opponents will start jumping glide plus 6P to avoid the situation. Once they do, you have Merkava's amazing DP for guaranteed unblockables. They may even leave room for active switch confirmations. Merkava Shirogane is a little more focused on screen control elements, but that's absolutely fine. There's still enough flexibility and win conditions to make the team feel super threatening. Watch Razo on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Let's talk about Nu. You've seen Glide plus Assist, but now get ready for Glide plus Spike Chaser. If the opponent doesn't have a way to deal with Nu, Merkava gets free reign to fly in and do his thing. When they jump and think that they have their whole life ahead of them, psych, the Merkava DP is coming. Spike Chaser is multifaceted too, since Merkava can use it to get a combo off of his 2-1-4 specials. Glide is also devious with Nu 5P, as you can fly over people with the assist to force sandwiches. In return, Merkava's 6P can surely amplify Nu's screen control elements, and Merkava's 5P is a perfect loop for Nu's act parser gaps to force threatening situations. Conceptually though, this team is just annoying to keep away from you. Both Nu and Merkava are well versed in playing up close, threatening from afar, gap closing, and enabling each other to excel in each of those aforementioned categories. It gets to the point where if your team is not built to handle Merkava Nu, no part of the screen feels comfortable. Watch Moth on Replay Theater for a visual guide. The Toaster. Aegis as a character made to overwhelm people once she gets in, so much so that it has to be limited by a resource. This is the Orgia meter, and she uses chunks of this meter to go into a special dash called Orgia Boost. Orgia Boost is the character. She can cancel into it from all of her normals on block or on hit, and out of her EX missile launcher. The Orgia Boost can allow Aegis to engage, apply devastating high-low mix-ups, extend pressure, convert, stall, and maneuver. Aegis only has 4 bars of this Orgia meter that, when depleted, will put her in an overheat state. While in overheat, you're locked out of Orgia Beast for a duration of time as a handicap. The Aegis gameplay loop mostly comes down to seeking approach opportunities and opening up your opponent with as little gauge as possible. You then capitalize on your hit by snowballing into either more mix-ups or threatening a character kill by flexing the extremely high damage output available to Aegis. Aegis can stall out for Orgia meter recovery with tools like her 5B and 2B bullets. She can also opt to do assist calls or even tag her opponent in for Orgia meter recovery. Aegis is a bit more on the technical end of the BBTAG spectrum, but she's a complete menace in the right hands. She serves as the star of your team because her assists are mediocre, but if you give Aegis some projectiles on lockdown support to work with, she'll cook, or toast, I guess. Here are 3 partners that Aegis can jam with. Let's get this one out of the way. Beyond neutral, Aegis 5B and 2B are insane for combos. Why? Well, they don't scale, so damage potential is quite high if you can squeeze them into your route. Adachi enables this in ways you'd expect. First, BZO. This is the go-to Okizeme option on this team to enable dirty Aegis high-low mix-ups. With Zio confirmations, Aegis can pepper in some bullets either during Zio hit stun or via the healthy wall splatter provides at the end. Adachi's assist further sweeten the deal for Aegis offense. 5P is a great mix of confirmation and lockdown tool, while similarly having low damage scaling. On varying hits this team lands, they can threaten these extremely deadly bullet loop confirmations where you ping-pong between the Adachi's 4P assist and Aegis bullets. For some reason, the sequence is completely burst safe. Allowing BZO access to swift high-low mix-up monsters like Izuyoi, Rachel, and now Aegis is just a winning recipe. Aegis does offer even less to Adachi than the other two, but the offensive damage potential on this team is incredible. You are not starved for options for people to watch on this team. Let's talk about more Zios. For Liz Assist, 4P is a traditional anti-air, but it also executes on the bullet loops we just discussed. 5P is great lockdown for Aegis to run offense, and the 6P is, well, Zio. Doing something like JB plus Liz 6P can staircase opponents down to the ground and make them eat a serviceable mix-up. After switching just about any of Elizabeth's special will create some type of value for Aegis. This includes the aforementioned Mazio-Dime, but Elizabeth will become even more powerful for herself and Aegis when she's in Awakening. Aegis is able to active switch into Elizabeth with Megiddo Fire for free Awakening confirmations, which is convenient. There's more grime on this team I can't fully overview. Aegis Elizabeth isn't the most stable team in the world, but Elizabeth's toolkit is just so valued here for a synergized composition of chaos. Watch Cax on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Even more Zios. Use 6P Zio lets Aegis traverse neutral effectively by covering the ground. It's also nice to call alongside Aegis 5B to cover the horizontal dead zone. With U point, place Aegis 5P on the end of the combo to force a cross combo mix-up, and with Aegis point, call the old reliable Narukami 4P. This baller combo ender can provide free left-right active switch mix-ups without cross combo. Both characters bring solid active switch options to the table to capitalize. Speaking of solid active switch options, Zio card. You can use Zio card to bring in Aegis for scary high-low mix-up utilizing Orgia Oh wait, that's just unblockable. If you're less focused on high character power with Aegis and want a more balanced approach, use your guide. You'll sacrifice the main potential of things like bullet loops for the sake of stability, but that's a worthy choice to make for this team. Watch Raicho Trashy on Replay Theater for a visual guide. This guy's literally just a Power Ranger. Hakuman makes you second guess your offense with his defense, second guess your defense with his offense, and second guess your will to play BBTAG with his damage output. Between reversal action, 2-1-4 Yanagi, and Yukikaze, Hakuman has strong parry options to dissuade aggression. These parries assume that you managed to get on Hakuman in the first place, as a sword-based kit boasts massive range to moves like 5B and JB. Not only that, all of Hakuman's sword options cut through projectiles and turn them into its own giant projectile called Fumajin. This orb lingers on the screen for a while and absorbs subsequent projectiles while enhancing Hakuman's neutral game. For all these quirks, the price Hakuman has to pay relates to his speed. He can't run, as he can only use his unique step dash. This creates an interesting premise where Hakuman's effectiveness stems from interaction. Eventually, you will have to interact with him, which is where his strength comes into play. Refusing to interact with Hakuman by playing passive may subject you to mix-up options like Rinka-san Tetsu and Tsubaki. Once he hits you, say goodbye to your life bar. For team building, Hakuman doesn't just fit into every team, but where he works really well. Hakuman wants assists that enhance and complement his pressure, some neutral options make his life easier, and ideally, some way to enable full charge Shippu confirms. More on that later. For now, here are 3 solid Hakuman teams for you. We'll pack a punch with Akihiko. Hakuman utilizes 5EB as an approach tool due to the embedded dash, but a common countermeasure to this is push block. Akihiko can cover this counterplay with his assists. 5P and 6P do a phenomenal job of filling gaps to give Hakuman more notable presence alongside easy conversion opportunities. 5P is a real highlight here as it really limits push block capabilities. 6P is more of a neutral boon as Hakuman can use it to gain space or force sandwiches on airborne opponents. On hit, there's combo potential available if you're able to activate cross combo. Hakuman 6P is a fun assist for Akihiko Akihiko to play around. The delayed threat of it presents scary circumstances for teams who lack a safe way to punish Hakumen. There's also an unblockable set of potential on this team for both characters. The obvious draw for Hakumen and Akihiko would be damage, but really, if you want to enforce Hakumen's pressure effectively and present threats up close, Akihiko aids in this approach. Watch 24 Bond, Price, or ML Sword on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Next, we have Naoto Kurogane. Kurogane's 4P will obviously enhance Hakumen's neutral game by aiding in the anti-air department, but there's more to break down here. We can finally talk about Shippu. This Hakumen super is a giant slash, but the damage on it can be greatly enhanced by charging it up. On some of Hakumen's best teams, partners allow for Hakumen to do full charge Shippu confirms. Cycling back to Kurogane 4P, on close anti-air callouts, you can activate cross combo and call Kurogane 6P alongside Shippu to get a full charge confirmation. Sheesh! Kurogane 6P is also useful for creating easy sandwich setups, some of which can even go into unblockable setups. Kurogane's Phantom Pain is a command grab that is air unblockable and hits standing opponents, and it's an amazing launcher for Hakumen to work with. You can be really creative with active switch combo routes thanks to Phantom Pain. Kurogane's Phantom Pain unblockable also finds usefulness in the neutral game alongside Hakumen 6P. You can approach people, and if they jump, they're getting cooked. Hakumen with Kurogane makes for a banger of a team. Big damage, great offense, and cheap setups. That's all Hakumen really wants. Watch 24 Bond on Replay Theater for a visual guide. We're bringing back the Noodle Man. Rakava offers his 5P, which is going to be extremely useful for pressure and lockdown. Rakava 6P offers some screen control elements with delayed projectiles, which are also beneficial to Hakumen's approach. On the flip side, Merkava probably has the most direct applications for Hakumen 6P in the game. It's an ideal assist to cover Merkava's glide due to the delayed timing, massive coverage, and generous hit stun. Merkava can also use the 6P to confirm off of his 2 Room 4 specials. But wait a minute, is Hakumen 6P just Shippu? Wouldn't that mean? Yup, full charge Shippu confirms are pretty seamless on this team. You'll lack some of the more impactful neutral coverage Hakumen likes when you pair him with Merkava, but that's not a big enough con to outweigh the pros. These two work amazingly together, and it's probably the most successful Hakumen team nowadays. It's all thanks to Razo, who you can watch on Replay Theater for a visual guide. You can reduce this character down to just Tatsu and parry, and somebody would still play him. Akatsuki is probably the most shoto-coded character in BBTAG. He has Fireball, Tatsu, and Uppercut, but he does it all in his own way. Blitz Shot, the Fireball, has 6 variations. There's a slow projectile, a fast projectile, or a projectile flurry if you spin meter. You can throw these fireballs on the ground or in the air to be shot at an angle. Armor Pressing Kick is his most infamous move. The A version is mostly a safe frame trap tool using stagger pressure, but the B version can take you for 3 consecutive strikes with the last hit landing as an overhead. In isolation, B Tatsu is harmless combo filler that is never opening up on block. However, as an active switch tool, B Tatsu is ridiculous. It grants great lockdown, but beyond that, the last overhead hit it creates extremely easy unblockables when Akatsuki's partner goes low. Push blocking B Tatsu unblockable setups can leave you liable to get TRM thrown, so it's really just a guess at the end of the day. Akatsuki's uppercut is tied to his 4P assist because his reversal action is reflective parry. This one button frame 1 parry is one of the best parries in the game due to its utility against zoning, safe jumps, and left right mix-ups. Akatsuki's already been mentioned in the series like 8 times so far for a few reasons. He's strong, he's easy, he's flexible, and he's consistent. As far as what he wants, not much. Really just make use of his active switches, throw some neutral options in there, and you're set. So here's 3 more strong teams that utilize Akatsuki beyond what we've already covered. It begins with Jin. Jin's 4P is a massive anti-air assist. Keep in mind, Akatsuki doesn't have access to his DP while on point, so covering his air approach to this degree is a blessing. With Jin 6P, Akatsuki gets to aid his approach, extend his pressure, and of course enforce B Tatsu unblockables. On Jin's end, Akatsuki 5P is a great addition to his kit. Let's take Jin's signature JP air to air for example. Rocking this alongside Akatsuki 5P makes for resource conservative confirms with very flexible routing for Jin thanks to the massive hit stun Akatsuki provides. This is more relevant in counter scenarios, but it occurs on normal hit as well. Beyond that, the lockdown on blocks from Akatsuki 5P is a solid opening for Jin. Not to mention, on certain heights, Akatsuki may cross under, which Jin can manipulate for a tricky active switch mix-up. Akatsuki partner with Jin makes for a fundamentally sound team with frustratingly solid offense. It's straightforward and both characters benefit from the pairing. Watch Kosei on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Switching things up with Rachel. Being able to safely set up Tiny Lobelia is critical for Rachel, and Akatsuki enforces this in a few ways. While Rachel is on point, Akatsuki's 5P and 6P cover the ground, which gives Rachel the opportunity to reposition and pollute the screen. More significantly though, Tiny Lobelia has more startup as a 6P assist call, so there's increased risk of interruption. Akatsuki's projectiles can keep the opponent in check and let Rachel call through assist freely. Akatsuki 5P is obviously going to be used for more than neutral here. We're gonna mix. Rachel can go wild with an assist like this and earn a comfortable confirmation upon success. B Tatsu will enable a similar scenario while also presenting unblockable mind games. We can set up B Tatsu with ease thanks to Rachel's 5P lockdown assist. Rachel's 4P and 6P provide great air coverage for Akatsuki. There's even some utility in doing Akatsuki's air Tatsu alongside these assist calls. Despite the noteworthy aggression, Rachel and Akatsuki actually benefit from playing things a bit more defensive. Akatsuki's fireballs enable Lobelias, and both characters can dance around the screen until they find their offense. There's minimal replays on Replay Theater for this one though. This one's for the love of the game. Similarly to the Rachel team, Akatsuki is able to cover the ground with tools like 5P and 6P while Heart flies around. This saves her from having to use resources on things like her EX laser. Additionally, Akatsuki offers a notable 4P that can punish opponents that are trying to catch Heart. Once Heart finds a hit, you're being taken to some type of crazy setup, and Akatsuki 5P is ideal for enhancing the Okizeme. The lockdown is perfect, and it can be really difficult to escape the offense this team presents. There's also fuzzy overhead mix for both sides in a few different ways, so this is a concept worth exploring on this team if you like multi-layered mix-ups. Heart may not offer a lockdown assist, but she does have a 5P that offers massive block stun with a wide active switch window. Threatening active switches with Akatsuki while having 5P to back you up is easy money. This could be a really suffocating team with no shortage of ways to hit you. Heart and Akatsuki deliver some overwhelming offense and pack a punch once they open you up. Watch Decade Era on Replay Theater for a visual guide. She yaps about her family so much, you'd think that Winter Schnee was getting out of this DLC or something. Weiss is a rapier character, so she naturally has top class reach and specializes in mid-range control. We can go on and on about her normals like 5A and 4A, which are such signature mid-range moves that a lot of characters in the game are disincentivized to even try to challenge them, or her JA, which comes in handy for air-to-airs, but it's the special moves Weiss possesses that gives her identity and makes her unique. She has Ice Shard, which is a tracking projectile used for space control. However, she can charge this maneuver to summon a glyph on the screen. This glyph can be manipulated by her Dash Strike Lariat and Snowfall Dive specials. By interacting with these glyphs, Weiss can counter her designated specials into plus on block strikes, overheads, and even side swaps. This not only enhances her solo game, but can also make for tricky situations when used alongside her partners. This gives Weiss a dynamic playstyle where she controls the screen with buttons and projectiles, finds opportunities for strong glyph placements, and works her opponent near these glyphs so she can dig into her bag of tricks and enforce scary offensive sequences. Between the learning curves with her unique glyph-based kit and some execution nuances for her optical firms like land cancels, Weiss can be one of the more technical characters in this game, but even just the core kit of Weiss can provide a competent playstyle. With that, great teams that involve Weiss can come down to a multitude of things, but generally, she'll always value partners who let her place more glyphs, whether it's through lockdown or space control. So here's 3 potential teammates for Weiss. Beginning with Naoto Kurogane. Kurogane 4P is a fantastic stabilizer for the air-to-airs you may find with Weiss. Forming Weiss JA plus Kurogane 4P will quickly make your opponent's second guess taken to the skies. The 6P allows Weiss to ball out of control with her 5AA. Her long reach and forward momentum combined with Kurogane 6P can make sandwich situations appear out of nowhere for messed up active switch mix-ups. In return, Weiss 4P isn't the most traditional anti-air assist, but it does carry big hits and on a delayed cadence that meshes well with Kurogane's air-to-airs. Her 4P can also cross under sometimes, so active switch mix-ups are a go. Kurogane can swing comfortably in neutral with Rekka when being followed up by Weiss 6P. The delayed tracking projectile lets him hit confirm and maintain safety on block. Kurogane actually isn't the best at supporting glyph placement, but that's okay. Kurogane allows Weiss to extract more value from more core aspects of her kit, and she has amazing synergy to support his presence as well. Watch Gatorade on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Reaching out the Waldstein. Wald's 5P hits ultra high up, so Weiss can use the ground bounce skill confirm off her air-to-airs. If Wald 5P plus Weiss J is blocked in the air, there can even be side swap mind games. Wald's 4P and 6P are always used for establishing pressure, but Weiss utilizes these assists to create extremely hard to challenge glyph setups. Defenders are forced to either cope or sacrifice resources to escape, since if your execution is on point, these setups are gapless true strings more often than not. Conversely, Weiss 6P aids Wald in neutral, and 4P is super cool to call with Wald sides buttons. The high launch lets Wald confirm with ease despite a slow movement, or tie in Weiss for free glyph placement combo confirms. Fancy. The point of Weiss Waldstein is allow Weiss to call glyphs and pressure as much as possible. Wald is uniquely equipped to maximize this glyph-based strategy. There's some Weiss Wald footage from Just MK1 and Naru on Replay Theater. And now we got Hyde. As good as Weiss mid-range is, her far range has some struggles, so a projectile like Hyde 6P goes a long way. But let's talk about that mix. Hyde 5P is a notorious assist that covers notable distance with multiple hits leading to either a launcher or pressure. It's also an assist that lets Weiss place glyphs and form a mix-up with an active switch layer. She loves that. If the defender expects a cross-up, Hyde 4P is a universal self-confirm from active switch, so you can opt to activate cross combo on the situations and show the Hyde 4P mix-up layer. Gaming. For Hyde, Ben Sinister is supported by Weiss 6P on grounded opponents. It's a free way in that Hyde normally has to spend meter on to emulate. Also, Weiss 5P is a strong fuzzy option that Hyde can work with, so ain't nothing wrong with that. Overall, Weiss Hyde is simple on the surface, but with multiple layers if you want to dig deep that will reward you for your time commitment if you want to push the team. Watch Midori or Just Death on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Her red flags are big, but her hitboxes are bigger. Bro, how do I even summarize this character quickly? So this is Nine the Phantom. She casts spells used for space control, confirms, mix-ups, and more by spending her mana gauge, which fills whenever Nine lands an attack or when she walks. The spell she casts is dictated by the level of her mana gauge. I can't cover every spell, but Morganite deserves a mention. This seed hits low twice after a short delay, causing amazing lockdown and solo left-right mix-ups with Nine's teleport. Yes, instead of a run, Nine has a teleport dash to traverse the screen. Oh wait, that's right, Nine has an instant overhead JB, so Morganite can actually be an unblockable setup that loops into itself upon success. Nine does have to hit you to use these spells though, so it's a good thing she has some of the most terrifying disjointed normals in the game. Oh, and there's Nephrite, which is like a nuke. There's Scarlet Vein, which is one of the best anti-zoning tools in the game. I don't know, man, this character is nuts. Nine is a complete package, so she really just needs teammates who amplify her best qualities. This can mean lockdown for mix-ups, screen control for even better neutral, or big hit stun, which is important since Nine can't run. The extended time to work her way over for converting app switches and assists is appreciated. Some people consider her to be a war crime, so let's find 3 partners in crime for Nine, shall we? Wait, we're looking for partners in crime. Who invited this guy? Narukami 6P may seem standard, but it really is the ideal speed and hit stun for Nine to comfortably maneuver around and confirm off of. The huge ground coverage of U5P double serves as a neutral tool and a lockdown tool due to its block stun. Zeokar is definitely a big thing to highlight on this team though. When active switch, Zeokar grants the hit stun you need to confirm with ease, or the block stun you desire to mix effectively. Even though they have an unblockable, Nine can't confirm off of it if the opponent blocks high, so this is instead a prime opportunity to set up a gap with Morganite. Narukami has a ton of ways to utilize 9-6P. It can supplement Zeokar and Zeo, force sandwiches, enhance pressure while enabling confirms, you name it. This team works because Yu is so self-sufficient while providing 9 great support. 9U out-neutrals you, carries you to the corner no matter who hits you, and then it's GG's. There's minimal replays on Replay Theater for this one, but check my link in the description. Uri showcases solid tech for this team on Twitter. Bro, this dude is a felon by himself, he doesn't need a partner. Seth 6P Orb is useful for slowing the neutral game down and forcing interactions centered around 9. 9 not only allows Orb to be set easily, but provides difficult to counterplay protection for Orb thanks to her range. Seth's 5P is the standout assist here though, because it crosses up on block. Calling Seth's 5P behind something like 9 5B is incredible, and once the sandwich situation presents itself, 9 has a plethora of potent axe switch options to capitalize. Dual piercing vengeance with 9 support also applies while Seth is on point when performed alongside 9 6P. Forced mix, easy confirms, cross combo layers, and even axe switch combos are all possible within relevant context. 9 Seth wins by playing slow around Orbs and spells and forcing you to engage against their annoying presence. Once you do, you may subject yourself to horrors like skip neutral, forced mix-ups, and unfair damage. Watch Days or Row on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Oh, we got some more big red flags. Yumi 5P functions as so many things for 9. It covers 9's 5P for confirmations of pressure, it works well with teleports and mix-ups, you can set up Morganite with it, it's just the best. Yumi 6P for 9 is also huge. It has great synergy with tools like Air Scarlet Vein. 9 uses this often in counter zone, and Yumi 6P can help stabilize confirms she normally wouldn't get. These same freeze properties can also be used for reset and mix-up potential if feeling creative. And then Air Rave is just nuts. It's the most accessible way to get Nerf Ride activation for absolute health bar deletion. Yumi definitely benefits from this pairing too. Snowbird plus 6P is insane for covering neutral, and Yumi converts off of it with ease. Fighting Yumi and 9 can feel like an absolute boss battle of a team. Neutral feels insurmountable, the mix-up are grimy, and the damage is unreal. It's cheap. Watch Ryazo on Replay Theater for a visual guide. How do you approach a woman who is holding down back when she has both a fireball and an invincible flash kick? Batista is a zoner, no surprises here. She covers the screen with a ground laser, orbs, an air laser, an even bigger laser, and an even bigger laser. Maneuvering on this character can be a nuisance, but she's also well equipped to play at closer distances. Her orbs, for example, can be inputted close to the ground so that she recovers quickly to follow behind them. Batista has solid buttons like her B normals, a J8 is solid for air to airing, a JB that can cross up, and a 2C that hits low twice. The vertical reach of Batista's reversal action is incredible. Some air stall or floaty or bait techniques are tougher to implement against her as a result. That's kinda it as far as Batista point goes, but there's even more value to cover in her assists. 6P is a large multi-hit projectile that supplements approach, 4P is the bug zapper, and 5P is a quintessential lockdown tool. It enhances neutral, Okizeme, and even confirms with a unique animation on hit that simplifies conversions for her partners. Listen, Batista is a support character, and this isn't the first time you're hearing about her in this series. Now, this isn't to say she's useless as an active character, definitely not, but the decision to pick Batista in BBTAG is mostly centered around what she offers rather than what she gains. She can supplement rushdown, zoning, or something in between with ease. So, let's showcase 3 more strong Batista compositions that we haven't mentioned yet. We'll kick things off with Izioe. Izioe's Sonic Sabers and mobility combined with Batista's assist kit make screen control really solid on this team. Batista 5P is one of the best assists Izioe can ask for as it relates to a lockdown Okizeme tool. Not to mention the post-hit animation of the assist stabilizes confirms efficiently. Izioe's assist kit proves useful for Batista as the 6P is so menacing. It traps the opponent since push blocking only moves Izioe away. Batista is free to run her pressure, and if you're airborne, you're probably eating a guaranteed unblockable reversal action. Batista is more than capable of holding her own on point by slowing the game down, but she's also able to ensure a safe entry for Izioe via an orb, a laser, or even a big laser if you want to spend it. You get the aggressive aspects you'd expect out of an Izioe team with Batista, but together, they actually play at a slower pace and engage at their own convenience no matter who's on point. Watch Chop Suey or Fullman on Replay Theater for a visual guide. You want a zone? Both Hilda 6P and 5P help out Batista offensively, but as per usual, Hilda 4P is the highlight. Hilda 4P is a critical key in making up for this team's lack of damage. You see, Batista's JC has this interesting property where it's active with multiple hits until landing, so the damage increases the higher she is. With that, Hilda and Batista have damaging cross combo loops where Hilda alley-oops the opponent up high with her 4P and allows Batista to loop super jump JCs. 6P covers some of Hilda's gap pressure while both 5P and 6P support Hilda's JC for mobility and force sandwiches. Both characters can confirm and implement full screen active switch mix-ups. Calling assists against either character is risky as they both have assist sniping capabilities. Hilda and Batista follow the ideology that low damage output doesn't matter if you just never lose neutral, and with zoning attributes on this pairing being cranked up so high, I believe this playstyle is very valid. Watch Crack and Atkins on Replay Theater for a visual guide, because I said so. Let's go with Chie. Batista 6P helps Chie out in the neutral game, where 5P is potent for pressure sequences up close. These assists also let Chie do silly neutral actions, such as Dragon Kick plus 6P for first left rights. Why do I feel like I've said this before? Chie's 5P, and especially her Dragon Kick 6P, just sort of lunges at the opponent, and Batista covers these assists very well. Batista can capitalize on any forced sandwich situations set up by these assists from anywhere on the screen thanks to lasers. Chie handles the damage side of things to make up for where Batista struggles. And when it's time for the big damage, Batista makes power charge routing pretty trivial. Chie gets her ideal support, and Batista's characteristics get put to good use if she's leading the charge. Watch Chop Suey or NKP on Replay Theater for a visual guide. When he starts swaying, start praying. Boxer archetypes and fighting games are presented in many ways, but there are a few who get the notion of bobbing and weaving down quite like Akihiko. Even when they do, they aren't nearly as cool. Akihiko is a rushdown character centered around speedy maneuvers and his main unique mechanic, Cyclone. Cyclone allows Akihiko to chain special moves into each other, and every time he does this, he gains a Cyclone level. The higher the Cyclone level, the more powerful his Cyclone-based attacks become. This can mean more hits done or more damage, but Cyclone levels can also add new properties to his kit. For example, ducking in the charged version of Corkscrew typically have projectile invulnerability mid-animation, but while in Cyclone, Cyclone, these moves become frame 1 projectile invulnerable. It wouldn't be fair to say Akihiko is a direct counterpick to zoning, but he's absolutely no slouch at contesting screen control. Akihiko mastery is fueled by a deep understanding of how to apply Cyclone properly throughout a match. The reward for executing Akihiko's game plan successfully? Annihilation. He has some of the highest damage output in BBTAG. Akihiko is a stable and strong character. He doesn't eat much, but if you want to push Akihiko overboard in power, you give him lockdown, an assist to follow behind corkscrew to support his ground game, and some way to enable melt and life bars more than he already naturally does. Here are 3 devastating Akihiko teams for you to consider. Brawl and Out of Control with Susano'o. In terms of overall assist quality, Susano'o 6P steals the show. This bullet style assist commands the ground game and can allow Akihiko to navigate with ease while threatening big confirmed cross combo. Assists are only one way in which Susano'o supports, however, as active switch Grand Viper is a real selling point on this team. It'll give Akihiko strong lockdown, massive instance for conversion stability, and even unblockable potential. There's some unblockables on this team the other way around as well with Akihiko's assault dive. Speaking of Akihiko, his 5P will give Susano'o some value lockdown, and Akihiko's 6P serves the usual purpose of strong ground game presence that demands respect. Akihiko Susano'o is made to be suffocating and threatening. Suffocation is executed by the immense lockdown this team possesses, and the threat lies in the damage you're eating once you get hit. Watch Hachi or Arma on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Did somebody say unblockables? Akatsuki 6P gives Akihiko the projectile he doesn't have or need, while the 4P is a solid anti-hero giant hit stun. You know what else has a giant hit stun? Akatsuki 5P. This multifaceted assist is going to lock down on block, but more significantly, you can abuse the hit stun of the Akatsuki 5P to build cyclone levels with Akihiko and confirm seamlessly off the wall bounce. Akihiko 6P is neat here. The assist has a tendency to cross under airborne opponents. This presents a prime opportunity for Akatsuki to threaten active switch mix-up options like Butatsu for potential unblockables. Akihiko 6P will also provide a hit that Akatsuki can follow up off of. Even at max distance, Bliss Shot gets the job done, which is significant. All in all, Akihiko Akatsuki is one of the more well-rounded Akihiko compositions. Everything Akihiko needs is here, and Akatsuki fits basically anywhere, but he does end up reaping benefits from Akihiko anyways. Watch Hachi on Replay Theater for a visual guide. She can't keep getting away with this. Yumi's 5P provides lockdown alongside big hit stun for simplified Akihiko conversions. Yumi's 6P is also amazing for ground control while being one of the best corkscrew enabling assists Akihiko could desire. It's an incredible follow-up to both B and EX corkscrew for pressure and freeze confirmations on hit. Yes, this even works on cross-up EX corkscrews. Yumi's snowbirds spawn up a hitbox behind her because BBTAG said so. The most ridiculous feature of this team comes from Yumi's air rave being messed up. The extended unburstable hit animation on air rave lets the Akihiko player meal prep their dinner and do their taxes while still having enough time to build cyclone levels for big dammy whammy combos. If they have the resources, Akihiko Yumi just TODs your mistakes, and since Akihiko isn't very meter hungry in executing his game plan aside from cash out, the resources are probably there. Sounds like fun. Watch Damn, this Hachi guy really likes Akihiko, huh? He's such an interesting design and concept. In practice, though, Iron Taker is a grappler with the power of magnetism. He has moves that manipulate the opponent's screen position by pulling them towards him and thus increasing Taker's effective range. His main command grab, Gigantic Taker Driver, is the highest damaging meterless command throw in the game. This throw, alongside other tools in his kit, have the option of going to Gadget Finger. There's a force to restand Taker can combo into that places the opponent right in front of him for instant mix-ups. Taker's reversal action is fantastic. It has a frame 1 guard point that is active for quite some time while creating a huge surrounding hitbox that's fully air unblockable. This allows Taker to disrespect certain safe jumps, cross-ups, and left-right mix-ups. But his best move has to be Spark Bolt. This projectile is super quick, beats plenty of projectiles outright, and wall bounces on hit, which allows Taker to easily combo from it. Too bad it costs 1 bar of meter. Iron Taker is bad. He can't double jump, run, air dash, or forward dash while also having below average assists, a huge hurt box, and we'll say risky neutral options. Some even teeter on the edge of flat out gimmicks. But if you want to play him, give Taker a partner that aids his approach and ideally a character that's decently self-sufficient. Here are some potential Taker teams for you. Perhaps his most notorious partner, Waldstein. Both Taker and Wald have 20,000 health points, so this is a beefy comp aptly nicknamed Team40k. Taker Wald get higher than average reward on basic app switch combo, leading to big overall damage. Wald 6P is great lockdown if you're able to find an opportunity to call it. Additionally, it's awesome to use alongside Taker's magnetism so you can pull people into their doom. Once you're sandwiched between this team, the risk reward surrounding options like app switch command throw is just messed up to deal with. Speaking of which, Wald's 4P also has a natural embedded gap, so a certified hit classic is to surprise people with the Taker command throw before the rock is thrown. If you want the big bodies, this is the way to go. Taker Wald's been played for years though, since the dawn of BBTAG, so there's years of tech out there beyond what I've covered. There's also plenty of great players to watch on Replay Theater for a visual guide. And from here, we're gonna do something a bit different. Listen, the scope of playable Taker teams is untapped territory, because as I said earlier, Iron Taker is bad. There's minimal Taker representation in BBTAG 2.0, so it's very difficult to define what are Taker's best teams. So rather than trying to theory craft, here's instead a brief overview of 4 capable Taker compositions that have seen success. There is Adachi. He supports the neutral game with tools like his 6P, but more importantly, there's some messed up unblockable applications Adachi gets set up for Taker with BZO. There's some layers to this setup, so I urge you to watch this video by Xiao explaining it that I'll link in the description. Xiao is also the player I recommend watching on Replay Theater for a visual guide of this team. There's also Yukiko, a real wacky zoner plus grappler duo that can be a bit tricky to fight. Yukiko 6P can can be crouched to avoid the hitbox, but the significance of this for Tager is that it keeps the opponent still so you can approach or apply mix-up. It's also nice that Tager gets access to solid active switch options like Miragi, so he's supported fairly well with Yukiko. There's some more nuance here, but for a visual reference, you'll want to check out 4-Sword Kirby on Replay Theater. Of course, where there's a Will, there's a Yumi. Yumi's 6P is a godsend for neutral while also applying some freeze restand potential if you're feeling spicy. But most of all, making a mistake against the team will definitely lead to your demise, no doubt about that. You can watch Ab again on Replay Theater for a visual guide on this one. And last but not least, Teddy. What happens when you combine an item toss character with the power of magnetism? It's chaos. You fill the team with junk and pull people in to create insane situations. This team is a bit of a higher skill ceiling since there's a lot of elements in play that need to be accounted for, but it's been effective in the right hands thanks to Mustache Villain. Even if you aren't interested in this team, I urge you to watch some of his matches.
Oh, when you realize just how weak you are!
Carmine is an extremely complete character who balances space control with ranged normals and projectiles alongside potent pressure sequences for rushdown. The catch is, the main parts of his kit cost his own life to execute. When you do certain actions, Carmine will place a dissolve on the screen, which is like bro's actual blood. However, dissolves are actually a good thing, as these puddles can be manipulated to enhance parts of Carmine's kit. The puddles cover more parts of the screen on tools like Pinwheel to create more pinwheels, or Blood Bomb to create more blood bombs. Even though dissolves cost health, it's recoverable health. You can tag out to regain HP or land Carmine's throw or 5A smart combo string for health regen. Carmine's damage output is also through the roof. Whether it's solo or with a partner, this character really hurts. Carmine is supposed to be high risk, high reward, but he's actually low risk, high reward if you use dissolve efficiently and route combos wisely. Sidestepping the embedded risk management to break the intended power cap of your character is, well, strong. Carmine is self-sufficient and supportive, so he benefits characters who like his active switch and assist options. There's also synergy with like-minded amped up damage dealers. Let's cover 3 strong Carmine teams that are worth your time. Leading things off with Hakumen. Carmine's 5P can make Hakumen's 5B strings gapless for approach. Tossing Carmine's 6P into the mind game gives Hakumen the opportunity to even steal turns and bait reversal actions. Carmine's 4P provides the lockdown, which is handy for his on-tattoo active switch mix-ups. Carmine can threaten a fuzzy mix-up from this, and even has consistent confirms off the mix-up if there's a puddle on the screen. Carmine's A-Smart combo extension offers full charge Shippu confirm, but Carmine often utilizes his smart combo for health recovery purposes too. This always side swaps, but luckily, Hakumen's 6P can be used to maintain corner positioning. The 6P also encourages people to jump, so Carmine can meet them with his massive JA. Staircasing opponents down to force air unblockable checks is nuts, because Carmine's reversal action has so much hit stun and creates enough time for Hakumen to hop over and convert. Carmine and Hakumen can force interactions. They call out push blocks and notified screen control so that you're forced to deal with them, which is very annoying. Watch Ilfe Scrub or Razo on Replay Theater for a visual guide. On to the big Yum. Yumi's 5P can be used to create more dissolves, reposition, or apply some mix-ups on Okizeme or force hammer situations. Carmine's JA is an absurd active switch option on this team. On block, it sets up a fuzzy mix-up for Yumi that she can confirm off of all by herself. Yumi's 6P serves as a mini thing, but a notable context is calling it alongside Carmine's 5B to grant yourself a full screen confirmable snipe. Jumping against this team poses risk due to their ability to set up confirmable air unblockables for each other. Carmine Yumi routing is expansive due to the flexibility of tools like Yumi's Air Rave, Carmine's Thrust, and just Dissolve as a mechanic. You're forced to burst sometimes, and if the burst punish doesn't kill you, you're still stuck playing neutral against neutral demons. If they hit you again, you may die before you even have an opportunity for rebuttal. Watch P-Blade on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Oh boy, 2 busted uni characters on the same team. Do you like free mix-ups? Seth's 5P is for you. In fact, the JA Act Switch Fuzzy we just covered applies to this team as well. Seth's solo confirm lasts long enough to conveniently call a Carmine assist to extend. There's even some dual piercing vengeance plus assist elements to this team with Seth points from various ranges. Sending them neutral against Carmine Seth is actually going to prove quite cumbersome. If Seth is on point, you'll have to worry about catching him while Carmine support, which becomes even tougher if puddles are out. The team also gets to take advantage of how long it takes to execute some of Seth's combos. Orb loops, for example, have a notoriously long duration while Carmine just heals up in the background. Carmine Seth is a complete team. It combines some recognizable elements of their usual best partners into one all-around package that is very obviously capable. This team lacks solid representation, but there are some replays on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Or his full government name, Kanji freaking Tatsumi. Kanji presents typical big body grappler archetypes like high damage, slow movement speed, big reads, and snowball potential, but he can also run, double jump, dash, and even air dash. He covers surprising ranges with normals like 5A, 5B, 2C, and JB. The 5B in particular is a chargeable move that can even lead in a 5BB, which pulls the opponent in. This'll hurt, it's his 214A command throw. Kanji has a unique ability to combo after this, where in the corner, he'll get a full combo pickup, and elsewhere he can use his chair dive maneuver, curl attack. He has other throws too, like an anti-air grab, an air grab, and his command throw super, burn to a crisp, a deadly move that cannot be escaped post super flash if you're caught in range standing or crouching. This thing does hella damage, and Kanji can even combo off of it in some instances. It's a high risk option, but the reward is so massive that people will feel obligated to respect it. Kanji is a bully who plays around the fears of his opponents. However, cooler heads tend to prevail against Kanji as he is very committal and linear. He lives and dies by the reads. For ideal partners, Kanji seeks swift screen coverage options so he can approach. Anything that keeps the opponent in place for Kanji's mix-ups is awesome, especially if you can layer his reads with active switch threats to present more safety. Let's get bent with 3 Kanji comps that bully effectively. Another guy who plays around the opponent's fears, Azrael. Of course, Kanji struggles against zoners. Azrael's Growler as a form of counter zoning is incredible for him. We also have the Clothesline from Hell. Azrael's 6P is insane ground coverage that demands respect and supplements Kanji's kit extremely well. On hit, you have plenty of hit stun for Kanji to run over and convert. On block, you are stuck, bruh. The block stun is insane, so Kanji can take advantage of that by approaching. If the presence of Azrael's 6P scares you into jumping, this now allows Kanji to bust out his air grab and anti-air grab call-out options. On Azrael point, Gustav Buster plus Kanji 6P is a true string from any distance. This lets Azrael get in at will with plus frames on grounded opponents. Kanji's 4P is also superb for Azrael's Okizeme. Combining this with Azrael's teleport mind game is going to grant easily confirmable situations on hit and threatening pressure and mix-up scenarios on block with the lockdown. For what Kanji Azrael lacked mobility, they make up for tenfold in pressure, damage, and aggression. Watch Arson Angel on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Now, what if we paired Waldstein with a grappler better than Tager? Kanji has some awesome active switch options, so sandwich situations are something he actually excels at. The issue is he's really slow, so it's difficult for him to create these left-right mix-ups. With an assist like Wald 6P though, it's one of your best opportunities to force sandwich scenarios with Kanji. Wald 6P also allows for Kanji to convert his fuzzy JB mix-up, so that's a bonus. Wald 5P is a huge swap that pairs well with options like Kanji's JB. Because of the range Wald covers and his screen placement after the strike, Kanji's air specials plus Wald 5P aren't bad gambits either. These concepts apply to Wald point as well if you're utilizing Kanji 6P. There's plenty of ways for Kanji Wald to cover the screen and make you guess. It'll require some patience, but when it works well. Watch Las Banditas on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Which leads us to the inevitable Adachi. Adachi 6P really allows Kanji to do what he does best, which is approach and run a mix-up. You can embed it in strings or call it a neutral. JB plus 5P aids your approach, 4A plus 5P sets up sandwiches if you're really close, and 5BB plus 5P sets up sandwiches if you're further away and willing to activate cross combo. And yeah, Zio is pretty good. A Zio and the Kanji 6P and the B Zio active switch is gonna do the thing. If A Zio hits, Adachi can run in and confirm off the falling chair. If for whatever reason the opponent finds themselves caught next to Kanji before B Zio is active, this really sucks. Kanji's 214A is scooping them, and if they jump, the air unblockable reverse action is coming. The other teams we mentioned are great, but there's no need to mince words here. Adachi is Kanji's best partner. Watch X Falchion or Zankoku on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Who up TKing their Growler? Azrael is an ass beater. He does high damage, runs scary offense, and is a momentum building machine. In turn, Azrael has to be contained by limiting his mobility, but he also has a teleport dash which is amazing for left-right mix-ups. You may think that this fella is begging to be zoned, but that's not fully the case. Azrael can perform Growler as a point and an assist. This is an impactful anti-zoning tool that absorbs projectiles and grants invincibility upon activation. Growler can cancel the Phalanx Cannon, a nutty super fast projectile that nullifies most others with the wall bounce on hit and even more invulnerability frames on startup. There's also Azrael's Blackhawk Stinger, which is an incredibly fast full screen super. It's a call-out tool, while also being uniquely equipped to punish full screen actions that are otherwise safe. Azrael can be a bit execution heavy due to his unique drive mechanic, which requires him to manually time additional button presses after certain actions make contact. This gives him more damage, hits done, or follow-ups if you're able to meet the skill ceiling required for these actions. As strong as he is, Azrael is a pretty needy character, but he thrives in the 2v2 on proper compositions. Characters who can aid his neutral with something like a projectile, give him conversion ability out of his Rekka, establish lockdown on sandwich situations, or provide a swift strike to cover his dash teleports are a good fit. Here are 3 strong Azrael teams for you. A lot of good Azrael partners were covered in earlier episodes, so let's go with Kurogane. As silly as Gustav plus 6P looks, it's a very real situation. You can confirm on hit easily from this neutral skip, and the string is gapless with big block stun on for easy cross-ups. Additionally, dash plus Kurogane for P is pretty baller. With forward dash, you can force pretty stable sandwiches, and with back dash, you can bait for anti or callouts that lead to easy confirms, or potentially force left right with some creativity. You can use Azrael 6P to force mix-ups on Kurogane's Rekkas and normals, and if you visually confirm a stand block on 6P, fuzzy mix-ups are stupid easy and cheap. Big things Azrael likes about Kurogane is that he isn't a meter hog, and he carries the corner easily, so you can meter it up on Azrael and be super impressive with corner steals and active switch threats on this team. Watch Caterade on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Doubling up on damage with Akihiko. Akihiko 6P is just a complete bullet. The low profile capabilities of it can even counter zone in some matchups, which is useful to aid Azrael's approach. Gustav plus Akihiko 6P is also quite impressive. It's a nice way in for Azrael, and on hit you have combo flexibility to confirm with Azrael or set up Akihiko for some ideal starters. Akihiko 5P will provide some of that sweet lockdown Azrael likes for enforcing mix-ups, and the 4P is noteworthy alongside Azrael's backdash for the hurtbox manipulation mind games. Azrael 5P follows up A corkscrew really well, while Azrael 6P is the way to go for B corkscrew and 5B. You can force some sandwiches thanks to the hilarious Azrael 6P block stun, but it's also amazing combo glue to build cyclones for Akihiko thanks to the generous hit stun. Akihiko Azrael is for combo nerds, honestly. Neither of them are super resource reliant and neutral, so you can meter dump on either character and get high rewards if you have the optimizations and situational awareness. Watch Dark Neck Roll, Bad the Soul Guy, or Nike Might Be on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Of course, it's Adachi. Adachi 6P and the cross combo 5P brings the string control followed by immediate lockdown, meaning it's time for teleport mix-ups. Also, Gustav plus Adachi 6P will do what you expect. Combo on hit, advantage on block. I'm flying through the basics here because you really need to get to this team's game plan. Zio setups. Traditional A Zio and assist in the B Zio stuff is absolutely busted on this team because you have to remember, blocks on the Azrael 6P lasts for an eternity. Escaping Zio sequences is hard enough, but you're borderline helpless when you throw Azrael's assist kit in the mix. Once the B Zio is out, then Azrael is in your face and yeah, you're eating teleport mix and a grip of damage. When it comes to mix-ups, damage, neutral, and just raw power, you can look no further. Azrael Adachi is the best Azrael team for sure. Watch Neo Garansan, Bojack, or Sprite Cranberry on Replay Theater for a visual guide. Who will be a good partner with Yumi in BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle? I read the comments. You're all huge fans of this character. Yumi controls the screen with her snowboard projectiles from longer distances and hits her exceptional normals at closer distances. 5B is a boomerang S disjointed fan toss. It hits twice and has follow-ups, which makes it very easily hit confirmable in mid-range. Characters with slower buttons get completely mauled by Yumi's A stagger pressure. 214BA triggers Air Rave, which is an unburstable fat damage hit animation that you can still call partners with as it's active. If you don't tag during it, Yumi still sets herself up for an easy auto-time safe jump. system. Air Rave, alongside everything else, makes Yumi a huge damage dealer, and more importantly, a damage enabler. Her support is top class, and that's only amplified by her insane assist kit. Yumi is one of the easiest fighting game characters ever designed. She has a bad reputation for this, but I think it's nice that she's a strong gateway character for learning a daunting game like BBTAG. We've covered hella Yumi teams, but my take on her best 3 partners from what we've covered so far would be Ruby, Nine, and Seth. With that, let's go over 3 more. What? Y'all haven't been waiting on the Yumi episode? Then who the hell have y'all been waiting for? Please tell me you're not gonna make me talk about... Oh god. Who would be a good partner with Adachi in Blazblue Cross Tag Battle? This really is all bull. Adachi is basically the sole definition of a hit-and-run character in BBTAG. For hitting, he lobs decent grounded normals like 5A and 5B, a JB that is a notoriously strong jump-in due to its huge hitbox and crossover properties, and his command grab ghastly well. For running, well, he has Miziodyne. 2 versions in fact. An A version that comes out fast and lasts for a bit, leaving Adachi minus, and a B version that comes out slow and lasts for way longer than a bit, leaving Adachi very plus. You can partner Adachi with a character who enables Zio to come out with ease, and better yet, can capitalize on B Zio block stun, and it's a wrap. B Zio isn't the only threat though, as just a simple active switch A Zio is a nearly universally confirmable full-screen left-right mix-up tool. Adachi's implementation in this game was a happy little accident. He's strong, very strong, but not unbeatable, and definitely not perfect. We've mentioned him in the series a lot too, but if you're asking me about his 3 best teams for what we covered, I pick you, Ruby again, and Chie. I don't have any more Adachi teams or Yumi teams to cover, so I guess this is it. Unless we talked about one more team. Adachi Yumi works by embodying gluttony and mixing egregious tools with more egregious tools. Adachi JD plus Yumi 5P. This forces grounded opponents to hold a mix-up or push block Yumi to survive. Adachi AZO plus Yumi 6P. On hit, you can get a free BZO confirmation, and on block, this is one of the better BZO access sequences in the game. Yumi Snowbirds plus Adachi 6P. This is just more screen control slot, but with Yumi point. Air Rave plus Adachi 5P. On Yumi Safe Jump Oki, Adachi 5P is perfect lockdown that covers all tech options in the corner. And last but not least, it's honestly poetic how 2 of the most overtuned special moves in this game work with each other. Air Rave, active switch into Adachi's BZO, is an extremely burst safe sequence that does a ton of damage and lets Adachi freely route into wherever he sees fit. This includes TOD combos if the opportunity presents itself. Adachi Yumi is obviously strong. However, you may be shocked to learn it's not commonly considered the best team in the game. It has shutout potential against characters who can't contend in neutral, but it's far from infallible and is rarely picked in high level play. It's definitely competitive though, so watch Yo Game Wizard, Monkey 4012, or Bojack on Replay Theater for a visual guide. 5 months, 52 videos, and over 150 teams later, it's finally over. Thank you so much for the support, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already if you enjoyed this content. This officially concludes the Best BBTAG Partner Series, but when one door closes, another one opens. With that being said, let me know in the comments what are your favorite teams at BBTAG. I want to know, who should we find next?